This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Thank you, Georgina Stoliker and Caligal 3 before the show started there. Let's see. Yeah, during the day today we did the second showing of the McStay trial. Boy, what a horrendous showing up of the the day crew people. Almost embarrassing. There's like 35 people watching. Hey, thanks, Caligal 3 again, and SV Kathy.
Chewbacca?
Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
I'm not really obsessed with the story that everybody wants to talk about it. It's just one of those things that, you know, people can wildly speculate if you want to. I mean, who knows where it went. I mean, aren't those submersibles, they just kind of go almost straight down, you know, from where they're at. It's not really a submarine or anything. Yeah. Well, it's 2 miles deep there. Those things don't work. What they need to have on those things is something that, like, bangs on the side of their craft from the outside, sending sort of a sound wave through the ocean. Because other than that, you know, or have something on there that actually sends out a high pitch or some kind of a freak signal from down there. But they apparently don't have anything like that. We haven't even started the show and everybody's still, like, everybody's commenting like they're experts on it. You know, it's amazing. It's just, I mean, come on, you guys. Let's, Alright, so anyways, we're just going to go over this, and maybe at some point, if people want to call in or something like that, great. I had a whole show planned, but, you know, this is sort of what, I've been thinking of doing this, but then multiple people are like, hey, Greg, you going to cover the subs, you know, it's not really a true crime thing, but we've done like the Thailand cave disaster, you know, whatever you call that, where it filled with water and they had to get the kids out of there. We nailed that one. And, you know, just other ones like, things like that. Yeah, so the thing is that this is exactly where the submersible went in, but let's just go out and just, you know, yeah. There's people that hadn't even heard of it. Like, for example, Danielle hadn't heard of the damn thing until like 20 minutes ago. Where, like, how do you not hear about this? It's huge. Titanic tourist sub missing for third day as search teams race clock. So it says rescuers searched a vast swath of the North Atlantic for a third day on Tuesday, racing against time to find a missing tourist submersible that it's called the Titan that vanished while taking wealthy passengers on a voyage to a wreck of the Titan in deep waters off Canada's coast. The 21-foot-long Titan was built to stay underwater for 96 hours, according to its specifications. Now, I mean, it's an absolute nightmare inside that submersible anyways. I mean, it's not even comfortable. They don't wear shoes. You kind of just sit on the ground on the hull there. So it has like 96 hours of total oxygen. One pilot and 4 passengers were inside the miniature sub early on Sunday when it lost communication with a parent ship on the surface about an hour and 45 minutes into its 2-hour dive. So how are they communicating with the surface prior to that? I mean, is there a tether on there? I mean, what are they? I mean, I don't think so, but how are they communicating? Because it's hard to send signals through the water via computer. Give me a break. Yeah, I mean, so how do you... you're not paying attention when you type in... Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but what's sending the signal? Water pretty much is a horrendous for anything like that. I mean, when I have like a GoPro camera, right? And it sends signals to my phone and I can watch the video on my phone, but as soon as it goes underwater, forget it. It's done. However, if I put a wire on my GoPro camera and then have it go up the rod that I'm holding the camera on and then have it touch my camera, you can still see the video a little bit. But what do you mean a satellite phone? How would that still communicate underwater to somebody? Well, we'll have to look that one up. Satellite. Well, that's kind of what we're doing right here. We're doing a summary. Here, I'll just go with the CNN article here. It said, a submersible carrying 5 people to see the remains of the Titanic at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean is still missing, despite a massive search operation by United States and Canadian authorities. The Titan submersible had been on its way to the famous wreckage off the coast of St. John's, Newfoundland, in Canada, when it lost contact with its support ship, leaving the people on board with only enough oxygen for 3 or 4 days. Let's see. A mothership can communicate with a submersible via text messages, which are exchanged via a ultra-short baseline acoustic system. Well, that's pretty interesting. So it sends like this little signal through the water with this, and then it must interpret it on the other end and then create the text message. So it's not really a text message. I mean, it's not anywhere near the same. It just shows up the same for them. According to OceanGate Expedition Archive website, the submersible is required to communicate with the ship every 15 minutes or more frequently if needed, the site says. For decades, communicating between underwater and the air had remained an unsolved problem. Underwater submarines, see, this is what I'm saying, but now they use acoustic signals, or that was before sonar, to communicate in the air. Airplanes use radio signals like cellular or Wi-Fi, but neither of these signals can work across both water and air. BLF radio waves can penetrate seawater to a few tens of meters, and submarines at shallow depths can use them to communicate. A deeper vessel can use a buoy equipped with an antenna on a long cable. Right, exactly, that cable there. Oops, yeah, I just saw that. With no GPS underwater, the submersible is only guided by text messages from the surface ship. On Pogue trip, communications broke down during a dive, and the submersible was lost for 2 hours. Wow, so that was another incident. Is that something new? Huh, so there must have been another time when it lost contact. But by the way, everybody, we're still doing the same thing on the show tonight. We have the, it's not a true crime show, but we still have the goals and everything like that, all right? So, that's what we're at so far on the show there. You see the goal. Georgina Stolker's the super freak, and we need to really kind of make it happen and then some, because the day show today was absolutely horrendous, right? So let's see. And when there's people who are going, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, the thing is on this channel, we raise funds to help support the channel, but a huge portion of it goes to true crime related charities and a DNA fund. I actually reached out to somebody else today on the case that I was going to cover. Really weird one that just sort of popped up randomly. Yeah, maybe the underwater aliens got a hold of the new technology and were listening in and abducted them. You ever thought of that, you guys? Thanks, Eugenie. I'm not really sure. When he called a rabbit, what do you mean it's a rabbit hole, LM? To me, it's just a case where they lost communication, they have no way to get out, and they're stuck. But I mean, I think the reason their communication stopped was because of something might have happened to the ship. I mean, it's like, what are the odds that right after they quit communicating, they don't come back up to the surface? I mean, isn't there some sort of a system where, hey, if you lose contact, you start the ascent at that point? So it seems like something catastrophic might have happened down below. That's what my opinion is. I mean, not that, I'm not an expert in any of that stuff. Thank you, Kathy Chapin.
Chewbacca?
I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
Okay, so how did they go missing? Now, so they were on their way to go visit the Titanic, and it says, how did they go missing? The submersible was part of an 8-day journey conducted by Ocean Gate Expeditions. The trip is based out of Newfoundland, with participants first traveling 400 nautical miles to the Reck site, which is about 900 miles off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The submersible began its 2-hour descent to the Reck on Sunday morning. It lost contact with the Polar Prince, the support ship that transported the vessel to the site. 1 hour and 45 minutes into its descent, officials said. I mean, so in some ways that's the fortunate part, that it was so early that they have a lot of oxygen. I mean, I don't know how long they were supposed to be underwater. Up there it said 8-day trip, but is that, how long do they actually go down? Is it 8 days down below, or is it part of, the ship ride out there? You put it underwater for a couple days. The submersible began its 2-hour descent to the Reck on Sunday morning. It lost contact with the Polar Prince, the support ship that transported the vessel to the site. 1 hour and 45 minutes into its descent, officials said. Search operations began later that day. It's still not clear what happened to the submersible, why it lost contact, and how close to the Titanic it was when it went missing. Man, wouldn't that be weird? The Titanic claims 4 more victims. The 5 people on board include 1 pilot and 4 mission specialists, with quotes on it, said Rear Admiral John Mauger, commander. It's really sort of like those people, like William Shatner when he went on the one of the rockets that went up into space. You know, it's kind of more like that. You just pay $250,000 and you get to be on it. A British businessman based in the United Arab Emirates, Hamish Harding, is also on board, according to social media posts. So it says, Ocean Gate CEO and founder Stockton Rush is among those on board, according to sources with knowledge of the mission plan. And it had somebody named John Mauger, and then United Arab Emirates Hamish Harding is also on board, according to social media posts by the company he owns, Action Aviation. The sub has a successful launch and Hamish is currently diving, the company said in an Instagram post on Sunday. Harding was one of the first people to travel the Challenger deep into the Pacific Ocean, the deepest known point on Earth. On Saturday, he wrote of the Titanic mission, "I'm proud to finally announce that I joined Ocean Gate Expeditions for their RMS Titanic mission as a mission specialist on the sub going down to the Titanic." Harding had posted on social media Saturday saying that the diver Paul Henry Nargilet was scheduled to be on Sunday dive with him. He had led several expeditions to the Titanic and supervised the recovery of many artifacts from the wreck. CNN has attempted to reach out independently, so I guess that guy didn't go. Man, how fortunate is that? A Pakistani businessman, Shahzada Dawood, and his son, Sulaiman Dawood, were also on board, according to a statement released by the family on Tuesday. Contact has been lost and there is limited information available, it said. Man, that's crazy. You'd think it would sort of send out some sort of, telemetry using that same text message system as sort of a last sort of signal up to the top. But it doesn't sound like there was much of that. It's a kind of an experimental deep sea diving submersible. Authorities have not publicly identified the passengers on board, but those are the people. The Ocean Gate website says its expeditions, which cost upwards of $250,000, typically involve one pilot, a content expert, and 3 paying passengers. How much time do they have? Coast Guard officials estimated on Monday afternoon the submersible had somewhere between 70 to the full 96 hours of oxygen. And if you're, make sure to hit that like button, you guys. When you're showing up here, be polite to the people putting on the shows and at least hit the like button. And then also, if you could, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. And then if you want to, when you're leaving, hit the unsubscribe. I really don't give a damn. Okay? Thank you very much. The depth of the area where they went missing could pose a challenge. The deepest ever underwater rescue was that of Roger Chapman and Roger Mallinson, who were rescued from the Pisces 3 submersible at depths of 1,575 feet in 1973. They were trapped for 76 hours before finally being hauled to the surface. The Titanic wreckage is much deeper, sitting nearly 13,000 feet below sea level. So that's, you're looking at over 2 miles at that point. Other factors complicating the search include its remote location, local weather conditions, and unknowns like the state of the submersible and whether it was working. It has working equipment like acoustic pingers that can be detected. Oh, okay. So there you go. Do they actually have those? And maybe they're not working then. According to CNN, I think something catastrophic could have happened down there, because it seems like nothing that an experienced pilot would think of doing to maybe get some attention is working. Yeah. According to CNN meteorologists, the area is seeing choppy seas up to 6 feet high. Thanks, Cindy. While not unusual for the region, This could cause delays for search parties due to difficulties using aerial equipment in low clouds. According to OceanGate, Titan is a 23,000-pound submersible made of carbon fiber and titanium. As a safety feature, the sub uses a proprietary real-time hull health monitoring system that analyzes the pressure on the vessel and the integrity of the structure, the company states. Any issues detected would trigger an early warning to the pilot to leave enough time to safely return to the surface. Unlike a submarine, a submersible has limited power reserves, so it needs a mothership that can launch to launch and recover it. Really? So what do they come down and get it with? Yeah. Thanks, Caligal 3. Yeah. With no GPS underwater, the submersible is only guided by text messages.
Unsubscribe on your way out the door, folks.
That's right. Do it. Unsubscribe on the way out the door. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, that must have been through the streamlabs deal. Yeah, I don't think so. But buckled money. The pilot uses a video game controller to steer the sub, but if that fails, a hardwired system can control the propellers. Thrusters are powered by an external electrical system, and an internal system provides the power for steering controls. I wonder, but what does that mean that they launch? It needs a mothership that can launch and recover it. Huh. That's sort of interesting.
Chewbacca?
Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
Imploded after being down for 2 hours. My guess.
The U.S. Coast Guard tweeted on Monday that the search will continue during the night. It began scanning the ocean surface on Sunday when the submersible was first reported missing. Boats, aircraft, radar equipment were deployed to scan above water in case the submersible had surfaced. The U.S. Coast Guard is coordinating the search with the U.S. Navy, the Canadian Coast Guard, and the Canadian military. The U.S. Air National Guard, 106 Rescue Wing, was flown over the area, as have two C-130 flights. I actually was looking at that flight website. I didn't see anything flying. I mean, there was. It's like pretty much in the right below a main sort of airline traffic location. I mean, there's just a whole stream of planes that go right over that. Thank you, SV Kathy. The Navy does have special rescue submersibles, but even those can only make rescues at depths of 2,000 feet. So there's some people that are trying to get out there the nuclear submarines that have really good sonar and detections, you know, because of what they do. I mean, you've seen Hunt for Red October, right? You got those guys just barely hearing something. Yeah, so maybe, I mean, that's old too, but I'm just saying they're especially good at detecting sounds. So anyways, so here is the, let me put the borders, and yeah, so there's Newfoundland right up there. And then from just that piece of land right there, 350, let's just say 350 miles or so. And so what I did was I took the ocean, the top of the water off.
900 people hit the like
Okay,
button.
so now you see, this is absolutely right where the Titanic is. And you know what's even more amazing? Is somebody on Google Earth put a little model down there. Like right there when you zoom in all the way to the bottom, there is the Titanic. And that really just shows you the submersible is probably like this big on there. Just this little tiny little piece. And then when you zoom out, and you just kind of realize that by the time you, it's insane how small that thing is. Thank you, Zoe413. So right here, this location right here is minus 12,475 feet. Okay, now if it kind of kept slipping, that's actually, you know, higher. Right here, look how deep this is. 17,000 feet. Right there is 14, so it kind of goes 49, 7, 8, you know, so it's really steep going down. In fact, this is probably, you know, you can see it just looking at it, how steep that probably is. Let me see if I get the...
Chewbacca?
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Thank you, your gypsy. I should probably slow down the chat a little bit, right? It's going too fast. Hold on. I can tell. I'll just make it a minute. That shouldn't be too bad for people. Yeah, I was just noticing like I'm missing some stuff on there. Yeah, I think something catastrophic probably happened when it went down. So here's the thing. I've got audio over here we can just listen to. I was on WFLA. I'm not going to play their video, but this is the press conference. If anybody else has like a link directly to like a Facebook press conference or something, that'd be great. Now, Alley Cake, great. I got my notebook today, and Freak, Heart, and Pen. Thank you so much. It made my whole week. Oh, really? Come on. Always nice to say. But yeah, if you're new here, everybody, hit that like button and subscribe. Don't worry about it. You know, we don't, you know, normally we don't cover like huge news stories, but this one's pretty interesting, I guess.
I got my notebook today, and Freak, Heart, and Pen.
Thank you.
Thanks you so much. It made my whole week. I really appreciate all you do and the freaks.
Well, thank you. Hey, Kets42, I totally agree with that. I wouldn't go on that if they paid me $250,000. Yeah, I totally agree. There's no way in hell I would do that. Hey, John Artlip, I'll have whatever the hell I want playing on the screen whenever I want to, okay? So go take your attitude and go somewhere else. It's just part of the show, man. You know, nobody's going, yay, let's have fun because there's some people that are missing. You know, you're just a fool. So get the hell out of here, all right? And by the way, if you're one of the people that think like that, you're not welcome here, all right? That means you're dumb. You're a dumb person if you think, oh my God, that avocado thing played on the screen. That's mean because there's people missing. Right, okay. All right, so I don't think I ever realized that it was that far over towards our, but I remember they were dropped off in New York, right? So that's pretty crazy. Man, what a nightmare that was. Jeez. That's amazing that even the Titanic people were found back then, given how far away it is and how shitty everything was. But look how deep it gets out here. We're looking at 17,000 feet there. And then there's places like this, where you go down here and you're at 27,000 feet deep right there, which is 5 miles. Is that incredible or what? I mean, 5 miles deep right there. And then you go to, there's these other places, usually right on the plate boundary, like a subduction zone of some sort. So like right here, look at this one. This one is 31,500. That's 6 miles right there. That's just insane. The pressure is so tremendous. Now, if in this case, I guess it's about, what did they say, 6,000 pounds a square inch. And by the way, somebody complaining about that, don't keep that from you sending in super chats to help support the channel and all the other things that we do with it. All right. Don't worry about what they say. So there's like 6,000 pounds a square inch, or apparently. So could you imagine if there's just the slightest little thing wrong when it got down to the bottom and just... Because it must have been pretty close to the bottom in that length of time, I would imagine. What the hell is that? It's a weird little divot there.
For the PP folded hands, heart.
Thanks, American lady. Alright, move on to the next one. So this is in Daily Mail here. It says, he was warned, submersible experts wrote to Ocean Gate missing CEO Stockton Rush in 2018 warning company experimental approach could lead to catastrophic disaster. And by the way, we always get trolls in here regardless, so it doesn't really matter. I could be talking about the homecoming of Bambi, and it would be, it'd figure out something that they'd come up with something. He was warned, submersible experts wrote to Ocean Gate's missing CEO Stockton Rush in 2018, so 5 years ago. They wrote to him and said experimental approach could lead to catastrophic disaster. Experts in submersible vehicles wrote a letter warning the CEO of Ocean Gate that their approach could end in disaster years before their vessel vanished. The company craft, the Titan, is currently missing with 5 people on board after it lost communications during a dive to the Titanic wreckage. A frantic search and rescue operation is underway to locate and recover the submersible. Oh, those are various ones over the years, I guess.
It's Champion Windows.
Hold on.
70 of
I don't want to play the ad and get the trolls upset. Did you hear you played an ad when there was a... Yeah. So there it is right there.
How very tiny this craft is. So the idea of kind of, if it's down at the bottom, and I don't know how anyone's going to be able to access it, much less...
Yeah, I mean, this is a complete nightmare for a rescue. I mean, it's really, like, challenging just to get the submersible down there. And then now you want somebody else to just kind of randomly put one down there and try to rescue. I mean, that's going to be really tough. It seems like there should be contingencies on board these things where if something happens, if something isn't done, then floats are put up and it goes at a certain rate. So I don't know what happens with the bends down there. It seems like they would probably pressurize the inside so that you're sort of normalized, I guess, like an airplane would do. Now let's listen to the press conference over here first. Let me turn off the background. This right here.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chief Petty Officer Robert Simpson. I'm the Assistant Public Affairs Officer for the 1st Coast Guard District in Boston, Massachusetts.
Hey, LM. I'm glad you're covering this case as a past history that many should just Google and realize how incredibly upsetting this is. Prayers for those with, let's see, 30 hours of oxygen left. Yeah, I don't know what's the past history of it. I mean, I know that other people have probably died and so forth, you know, in other experiments, I'm sure. Everyone thinks they are floating. People think that the submersibles are already on the surface somewhere floating around. Man, I think that's almost impossible. You don't think somebody has some kind of a radio of some kind that they could communicate with people? I think that's like 1 in a million that that's true.
In just a minute, I'll introduce Rear Admiral John Mauger, Commander of the
But
1st
I
Coast Guard
want that to
District.
be true.
I'm prepared to give you a brief update on the case going on 900 miles east
And thank you, LM. Appreciate it.
of Cape Cod in the search for 5 submariners. We do ask, following his brief statement, we'll be able to take a few questions and answers. We do ask that we give everybody the opportunity to ask one question, and if we have it to go through, we can be able to ask further questions beyond that. We only have time today for about 10 minutes, so he has a brief statement on here, and at this time I'd like to introduce Admiral John Mauger.
Well, apparently inside they have one toilet, has a curtain for privacy. There's no seats for some weird reason. And apparently they don't wear shoes, and they just kind of sit on the ground and go down. That sounds like the most unfun trip ever. Like, I would rather just watch video of what you found going down with the Titanic. I mean, it must be kind of, it is probably different to have your own eyes on it while you're down there, but. Yeah, that too, Ket's 42.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rear Admiral John Mauger. I'm the commander of the 1st Coast Guard District here in Boston, Massachusetts.
This is what it looks like.
And in this case, I am the lead for the Coast Guard search and rescue operations for the overdue submersible out near the wreck of the Titanic. Yesterday afternoon, we were notified by the operator of the submersible vessel that it was overdue.
You should just Google and realize how incredibly upsetting this is. Prayers for those with 30 hours of oxygen left. Praying they are on surface somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's really unlikely, but maybe. I hope so.
And it had 5 persons on board the submersible. So we're working very closely at this point to make sure that we're doing everything that we can do to locate the submersible and rescue those on board. Our thoughts are with the crew members and the families on board, of those on board the submersible at this time, and we are doing everything that we can do to make sure that we can locate.
The comment that Metal Cubana made saying, "I'll gladly rely on James Cameron's footage," is referring to, you know, I think even the movie was, I think he made that movie, right? The Titanic. In their submersibles going down there, getting the actual footage from the Titanic. You know? So I don't think it wasn't referring to another channel.
And rescue those on board. So after receiving the call, we reached out to the vessel Polar Prince and began a surface search looking for the submersible. At the same time, we launched a C-130 aircraft to conduct an aerial search, both visual and radar, of the scene. We've subsequently coordinated with the Canadian Coast Guard and Canadian Armed Forces to deploy additional assets to the scene. The Canadians have had a C-130 aircraft searching as well, in addition to also having a P-8 submarine search aircraft deploy as well, and put sonar buoys in the water in attempt to listen. The location of the search is approximately 900 miles east of Cape Cod, in a water depth of roughly 13,000 feet. It is a remote area, and it is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote area, but we are deploying all available assets to...
Yeah, well, so interestingly, you know, you go down here and yeah, there they are. I mean, somebody actually put the models in there exactly where they're supposed to be. Yeah, but right in here, if that's what they're referring to, in this little groove here is 12,800, where this is, it's 12,451. So I don't know if they've narrowed it down to being closer to that, or
make sure that we can locate the craft and rescue
it's only 3 miles.
The people on board. Going into this evening, we will continue to fly aircraft and move additional vessels into the area. In this remote part of our search and rescue responsibility, oftentimes we rely on commercial operators to be the first vessels on scene. And so we've been in touch with additional commercial vessels that are operating in the area, as well as initiating the movement of additional Canadian Coast Guard assets and U.S. Coast Guard surface asset into the area over the course of the next couple of days. Adding to the complexity of this case is the fact that this was a submersible vessel, and so we need to make sure that we're looking both on the surface for the vessel if it had surfaced back.
Look at the trolls are in here tonight. It's incredible.
But it somehow lost communications with the vessel, and that's what the aircraft and the surface search vessel is allowing us to do right now. But we're also having to search in the water column. And we're doing that right now with the use of sonar buoys and sonar on the ship that's out there to listen for any sounds that we can detect in the water column. Over the course of the next couple days, we anticipate adding additional capability to conduct additional search in the water as those commercial assets arrive on scene. Again, our thoughts are with the families and the crew members.
I mean, I'll admit, I'm good at mapping and stuff like that on these, and true crime. I'm pretty good at figuring out what's happening. But this is stuff that's outside of my realm. But I'm not an idiot, so I'm able to read stuff and go, oh yeah, okay, so that means this, and I don't know about any sort of this weird text messaging technology they're using with like just pinging and then a deciphering on both sides, and then it turns it into a text. Right. I never heard of that. It's not something I really give a shit about like on a normal day, right? I don't sit around going, on a day that there isn't people missing and go, hey, I wonder how the submersible communicates with the ship. It just doesn't pop into my head. I got other stuff that I think about. So it's interesting to learn some of these things. All right.
On board the submersible, and we're working very closely with all U.S. And international partners to provide any capability that we can provide to search for the overdue vessel and rescue the crew members on board. At this point, we'll take questions.
Basically what they should do is bring in, if I was them, and you just wanted to give it sort of a Hail Mary shot at something, would be to go into the general same area, but then, sort of away from where it was, but maybe like a mile in each direction, and then put in different submersibles that are available down doing the same trip and then sort of have them head towards the wreckage and see if on the way they can look up and down and see something. I mean, yeah, I don't even know how viable that is, because how clear is it down there? You need light probably because it's so dark. And I mean, this is just pretty much a nightmare, really. I mean, there's no sunlight going to be hitting 2 miles deep. It's pitch black down there, other than having their own lights. So think how scary that is. Like, let's say something catastrophic happened where they were all alive but lost all their power for a while. That means it would be pitch black with no way to move, and likely and oxygen would have dissipated pretty quick right there. I mean, yeah, an absolute nightmare. You know, for me, it's like any roller coaster at an amusement park. But yeah.
So,
well, it's cold when
in terms of locating the overdue submersible, we have to make sure that we're looking on both.
I think we have a river here in Oregon where it's 30-something degrees. Spring, the Metolius River, if I got that right. It might be 41, but it's really cold.
The surface using aerial and surface vessels, but then expanding into underwater search as well. Right now our capability is limited to sonar buoys and listening for sounds, but you know, we're working very hard to increase the capability. We understand from the operator of the vessel that the vessel was designed with a 96-hour sustainment capability if there was an emergency on board. And so we're using that time, making the best use of every moment of that time to locate the vessel.
Sir, can you talk about who was on board exactly, and is there somebody named Hamish Harding, a British explorer, who confirmed that he's on board the Titanic?
At this point, I'm not in a position to confirm the identity of anybody on board the vessel. Out of respect for the families, we're you know, going through the notification process, and more updates will be forthcoming.
Sorry, I may be jumping to something here, but it seems like if that vessel would be sitting on the bottom, you know, the 90s.
Yeah, we know, Lynn. We just read that a minute ago. Yeah, we know the CEO's on board. We just read that a minute ago.
That's absolutely part of the overall planning for this search case. Right now we're focused on locating the vessel, but at the same time, if we find this vessel in the water, then we will have to effect some sort of rescue or coordinating, reaching out to different partners within the U.S. Navy, within the Canadian Armed Forces, and within private industry to understand what underwater rescue capability might be available.
Are there any vessels on the way there that could do that? Get down there?
So at this moment, we're focused on the search and understanding the capabilities of the vessels that are deploying to the scene. So the sonar capabilities within the sonar buoys and within the hull of the commercial vessel that is out there operating on site, those aren't Coast Guard sonars, they are capable of listening to a depth of 13,000 feet, as I understand it. So in terms of the square mileage,
you know what I'd like to have if I was in a situation like that down below? I'd like to have like the ability to have like take propofol or something, you know, where you're just not awake. I think the same thing in airlines. Like if you're in this severe storm and it looks like, man, you lost an engine, things are going really bad. You know that oxygen mask that comes down? I want that to be ether. You know, I really, I think it's almost cruel to make people sit there and, yeah, well, you need to be able to get out of your seat when it lands. Look, those things never land well, okay? So I'd rather take some ether and not be awake. I mean, can I get an amen for that? I mean, I bet there's a lot of you who think the same thing. If you wake up, you wake up. If not, you didn't have any terror or nothing. You're just out. And I'm totally into that. You know, like, for example, 9/11. Wouldn't it have been better for, you know, the ones in the early planes to, oh, God, we're going to get the plane. Just boom, you know. Right.
To the search, I don't have that number right at this moment, but it includes both a surface area that we're looking at and a subsurface area. And so we'll get you the exact number for the square mileage of the search. In terms,
No, I mean, just put you under. You know, I mean, because here's the thing, everybody. For all the guys out there, I mean, and women who've had colonoscopies before, when you go in for a colonoscopy, it sounds like this. Hey, we're ready to begin. We're done. Because you take propofol and there is no in between. There is not one single remnants of a dream. There isn't even the slightest bit of anything at all. It's just, we're ready to begin, we're done. Okay? So I'd rather have it be, we're ready to begin and there's nothing if something bad happens. All right? All right, so let's get to that point.
Of the hours, we understood that was 96 hours of rescue or emergency capability from the operator.
Well, thanks, Mary.
And so we anticipate that there's somewhere between
oh, you're crazy, obese car.
The full 96 hours available at this point.
Do you believe that the sub could be in a location near the Titanic? And if so, what are some of the challenges with sonar and a debris field that the Titanic had to face?
So it's certainly the purpose of the submarine was to, as I understand, the purpose of the submersible was to provide opportunity to visit the wreck site.
Yeah, it was
and explore
recreational.
the wreck site. So that's a possibility. Again, right now our focus is getting on as much capability into the area as we can and understanding that full capability of those assets that are being deployed. Our aerial assets that are being deployed have the capability to do both visual and radar searches, and the Canadians' asset had the ability to drop sonar buoys and listen, and so we're using all that information to improve our search capability. So we're
I think this is a like a place for people to put jokes in here. We had one person up above said the CEO was under a lot of pressure. Then we had somebody else said very deep trouble they are in. I mean, isn't it? Can you just find something else to be joking around about? You know what I mean? It's not the same, you know. It's just stupid. Let's see. I agree. I don't know why this is allowed. I'm shocked. I never knew could just go down there. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they have little trips down to the, basically an underwater grave for 1,000 or more. You know, I can't remember what the total number was, but there was an insane number of people who died in the Titanic. Right. So here we go again, you guys. I gotta push for reaching the goal tonight. We've got over 1,000 people watching. It seems like it should be easy to reach the goal. So if the freaks out there, the ones that like to support the channel, if you could help support it tonight, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Because in 10 days from now, we'll be making, at least probably $3,000 or $4,000 to charity donations that I do out of the income from the channel. We got to send most of it into the DNA fund that we have, because we have funded 11 different Jane and John Doe cases all the way from start to finish using Identifinders International to do the forensic genetic genealogy. Only way that happens is if you guys out there help support the channel. Thank you very much.
Working through.
Yeah, well, it's going to take one of the ones where the space... hey, thanks, Atticor. With one of the space strips that people go on, when that blows up, it's going to be... People won't do those anymore either.
That right now...
but who knows? We don't know what happened to this one yet, though, right? Right, so let's just sort of see what happened. I mean, hopefully it isn't some man... one of the individuals inside the submersible did something. you know, on purpose. Yeah, we don't know.
But what we're really focused on
Thanks,
at the
Kubi
moment
and
is
Adequate.
really locating the vessel, which could either be in the surface or subsurface. And so we're bringing in technical expertise.
And thank you to Nup, I Got Nothing. I don't know what that means, Zozo. That doesn't make any sense.
To understand both the dynamics of underwater search and underwater rescue operations.
Chewbacca?
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
That doesn't make any sense, Zozo. Type it in again, please. I really have no idea what that meant. I read it 4 times.
So as search and rescue professionals, you know, we work very, very hard. And our crews take this personally. Our first thoughts are with the crew members and the families of those on board. And so we want to make sure that we have done absolutely everything that we can do to locate their family members and bring them home safe. And so they're first and foremost in our thoughts every moment of this search operation.
Who was lost last year? Who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Welcome,
I don't
Marvel.
have any details on how often folks visit the wreck site there at Titanic, nor any specific comments on the dangers involved. Certainly, every time ships go to sea, they encounter hazards and dangers, and so having properly prepared vessels, properly prepared crew members, and making sure that you practice emergency procedures, good practical advice for anybody that goes to sea. So at this point, I'm not going to discuss any information about the families and communications with the families, and so we'll provide that with future updates.
Any idea of the number of personnel searching? Is it dozens, hundreds?
So the Coast Guard has 2 C-130 aircraft. In addition to the command team that's working here, we have 2 C-130 aircraft deployed. The Canadians have a C-130 aircraft and a P-8 aircraft. We also have access to... And
so you can see right here, look at this airline. Obviously, this is just a route that they take. And I think that's right in that area, because if you go to like that and zoom in, so I'm just basing it on the size of the land there. So maybe something like if you go like that, let's just say, how close is that? It's pretty similar, and therefore it's like down here. So right over wherever these guys are flying right here, it's kind of down in this area. This is the flight radar program here. Man, isn't that just insane? All these planes that are just flying around at any given time. I mean, it makes you not want to fly ever again. I mean, how are these things not just crashing right into each other? Well, Gray, it's called controllers, you know, air traffic controllers, Gray. They're the ones. Oh, thank you. I didn't know about. I've never even heard of them before. Thank you so much. You're so helpful. All right, back to this.
And we'll launch this evening a C-130 aircraft from the New York National Guard to make sure that we have sufficient air assets up there. On the surface, we have the commercial operator that's been on site, and we're bringing additional
What's going on right there?
Surface search assets into play, which will also bring in some subsurface search capability. Last question, please. I understand from the operator that there was one pilot or submersible commander operator on board, and that there were 4 mission specialists on board is the term that the operator uses for them.
Well, these guys are right next to each other.
5 total. You have to ask the operator what that means. What we're focused on is finding those 5 people. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming today. This does conclude this portion of the briefing. I can stay behind just to take any other questions down, and we can get back to you at a later time, and we'll be able to connect directly with you. I know you had the question about the square mileage area.
Thanks, frazzled cat.
Do you have a card with you? Okay. Were there any other additional questions? Yeah.
Oh, it was last year.
So I'm not sure the exact time of when it started.
Well, it was lost for 2 hours, right? Last year.
Hours total.
I finally could figure out what you were saying.
The amount of time total that it can stay underwater,
Chewbacca?
or if that starts in.
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
I get what you're saying now. Yeah, when this Titan was lost for a couple hours last year, how come they didn't build more safety features? There you go. Hey, man, you guys, I learned girl code in 20 minutes. I figured it out. Man, I am... Where's my medal?
Another time. We can clarify and get back to you on that. Right.
Yep, that is what it meant.
Right, when did that clock start for the 96 hours? Yeah.
Does it have anything on it that allows it to float?
Yeah, no, we don't have any information on the specifics of how the submersible is set up or for any.
Wow, it sounds like they don't really have anything.
We don't know that.
They don't have to like file a report.
We do know that the aircraft that we have on scene that are searched in the area can search a large area within that period of time over assets. So if they're on the surface, we'd be able to see them with the crews. You mean
I don't think
persons
so,
on the
Bruce
submarine
Lee.
itself? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know what the experience level is.
They don't produce oxygen that quick.
No, we don't have any indication, anything like that.
What science could do, though, is build these, engineer plants to pump out oxygen quicker, right? And then you could just put a couple small plants in any sort of mining operation and just sort of set them there and boof. They just start, hey, thanks, Booberry. I used to eat that cereal. That was...
Only just that the communication had been lost. Not specifically like necessarily what was said on there, but it was about an hour and 45 minutes into their dive.
Yeah, and how long? Isn't it a 2-hour descent down there? Yeah, so it goes down for 2 hours, and they lost contact. But let me ask you this. I mean, once it loses contact, don't the pilots still have autonomy down there where they can go, okay, we lost contact. Let's stay here for 20 minutes or so, but we got to get the hell out of here because we don't have any contact. Can't they still get out? And that's why I think it seems like yes. I mean, I would say just yes, logistically, that would be moronic if you couldn't do that. So... since that's true, I'm going to say it's absolutely true that they can get out of there. So that means something bad happened when they lost contact at an hour and 45 minutes in. That means something really, really bad happened. And I'm saying that because they could have been able to, they would have came to the surface and just pulled out one of their radios. I'm sure they've got just a regular walkie-talkie or something and went, hey, we're right over here. Or shot a flare off or something. But that didn't happen, and that's because something really bad happened. I mean, we could do a poll here. Okay, the first question is going to be, how many hope they are floating in the water? Oh, wait, no, not how many. Do you... Okay, so there you go. There's the hope question. I think most people hope they're floating in the water. The people that say no are just trolls. Okay, they always show up on here. Doesn't matter. Give that about 5 seconds there. I want to be a troll, Gray, so I'm going to hit no. All right, so 136. I just said when you get to the surface, Ethan, you weirdo. Do you not pay attention, Ethan? They would have gone to the surface and shot a flare, you moron. Were you not paying attention? All right, before you start throwing out your jokes, listen to what people say. All right, anyways, it's, so, yeah, we've got 220 idiots in here that said no. Okay, so then we'll end that poll here. Or 22 idiots, excuse me. Let me do another one here. Gosh, this guy's so rude. He doesn't let people have an opinion. Right, I let you have an opinion, but I don't respect the people who said no, okay? Like, you don't want them to be floating on the surface in their vessel, right? All right, the next one will be, do you think they are floating on the surface in the Titan? Okay, and that's another version of the question. There's hope, but what do you think? And I say absolutely not. That's my opinion. And this one, I won't care what your opinion is. It's the other ones where there's sort of a test of humanity or brain power, and those are the ones I usually comment after. Well, thanks, Mimi. Yeah, we don't, this is a channel where we don't use words like, for example, if somebody commits suicide, we don't say they unalived themselves. Okay, we don't care, all right? We just say what the word is because it's more respectful for people who actually have done a sexual assault. It's called sexual assault, not SA'd. Okay, I think it sort of just dumbs it down, and it's really embarrassing. So, we care about those issues, but we don't care about trying to be politically correct for everybody else, all right? It just is what it is, where our society is turning into a bunch of weirdos, trying to think of how to say everything just the right way, to thread the needle, to not offend anybody. And I say if you're offended by some of these things, that's something wrong with you, not everybody else. All right, let me get back to this.
The last recorded communication that they had, I don't have specifics on if it was stopped suddenly or if it was just a check-in period of time. They just didn't. But
well, don't you think there's probably a way that they can unlock themselves from it when they're in there? Don't you think that that's absolutely something that's part of it? Only somebody else can let them out? They're locked in a tin can?
I think the dive started on Sunday.
Right.
I believe seas right now are 3 to 6 feet.
I think they need huge changes, regardless if they're alive or not.
Visibility with fog is with 3 to 6 foot seas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just
for that far
went over
offshore,
that a minute ago.
Fairly normal. I mean, it does get much higher than that.
Oh, the core. I don't know if we went over that part.
More than likely it will. I think just to keep this as kind of a central location, if we moved it down to the base, it would be much more difficult for you guys to get on. So if we do more briefings, we'd like...
Well, it sounds like the only communication they have was with this kind of weird... let's see. How submerse... Communicate. I found one of these earlier. An underwater transmitter uses an acoustic speaker pointed upwards to the surface. The transmitter sends multi-channel sound signals which travels as pressure waves. When these waves hit the surface, they cause tiny vibrations. I mean, man, that's pretty technical shit there. It's probably, how like whales can hear each other with that high pitch long distance, but in this case it's probably sending, basically, I would guess that these multi-channel sound signals are sort of like sound waves that are, but not really. It's probably like a code that when you I don't know if you type on one end, it sends something out in a certain pattern that then the other end translates it back. You know, like a T might be wow, 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 wow. And then an H is wah, 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 wah. You know, and then when it gets up to the top, it goes, oh, that's a TH, ding, ding, ding. You know, just a crazy little example with my own mouth. I know I sounded exactly like it. Absolutely perfect.
They probably put it here. And next time we'll have more advanced notice from when we did this. We just wanted to make sure we got something out as soon as we could today to try and meet that. But we'll send out more updates on the site, plus also Twitter, to keep not only updating information, but also the next briefing, which likely won't be till tomorrow.
Well, there you go. That was pretty much all they had there. Hold on. Ding, 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 diddle, ding, ding. So I think we were on reading an article here a minute ago that was related to something somebody said in there about a risk. I think it was in the Daily Mail article here. It says, he was warned, submersible experts wrote to OceanGate missing CEO Stockton Rush in 2018, warning companies' experimental approach could lead to catastrophic disaster. Experts in submersible vehicles wrote a letter warning the CEO of OceanGate. Kind of a weird name, right? Now that there's something controversial, like Russian Gate or Watergate and now Ocean Gate, but they probably mean like a gate to the ocean. That their approach could end in disaster years before their vessel vanished. The company's craft, the Titan, is currently missing with 5 people on board after it lost communication an hour and 45 minutes into a dive to the Titanic's wreckage. A frantic search and rescue operation is underway to locate and recover the submersible before its 96-hour oxygen supply runs out. Leaders in the submersible industry sent a letter to OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who is currently missing, along with the vessel, urging him to take caution. The letter obtained by the New York Times warned that the current experimental approach of the company could result in problems from minor to catastrophic. Meaning, it must mean like they experiment as they're going along instead of like doing test and making sure it works, then deploying it, I guess. Let me see what it says down here. It was sent by a manned underwater vehicle committee of the Marine Technology Society, a 60-year-old trade group that aims to promote ocean technology and educate the public about it. Patty Denise said, I'm glad you're having a show on this. So crazy. Yeah, well, I was thinking of doing one, and then a whole bunch of people messaged me, but I had a whole different show planned, and then I just said, screw it. I'll I literally found this. I think it was a Jane Doe case that I was doing. It was a Jane Doe case, and when they found her body, they found another body there, but they were able to identify the other body. But they've never identified the other person, even though then they made an arrest in the other one, but they were found right next to each other in the same place, like 9 months apart actually. So they weren't found at the same time. So that one's pretty interesting. Yeah, I've got that. I'm not going to read the Montgomery PCA. It's too long. Somebody sent me an article on the sort of like a breakdown of it. That was better. But we're not even at a goal yet on a night with so many people. It's been so frustrating lately. Among those taking part the expedition is billionaire Hamish Harding. Oh yeah, they don't know if that the CEO responded to the letter. Officials searching for the missing sub have warned that they may not be able to rescue the missing tourist sub. Among those taking part in the expedition is billionaire Hamish Harding, CEO of Action Aviation in Dubai, and Shahzada Dawood, 48, a UK-based board member of the Prince's Trust charity, and his son, Suleiman Dawood, 19. Rush is also understood to be on board the vessel, which vanished on Sunday along with French Navy veteran P.H. Nargiolet. The sub's oxygen supply is now at just 40 hours, giving rescue crews until Thursday morning to find it before it runs out. I think it's down to like 20 something now. Rescue crews from the US and Canada are still trying to find the vessel, which is understood to have last pinged while directly above the Titanic wreck. Okay, well that's interesting. First District Response Coordinator Captain Jamie Frederick said the Coast Guard has already searched 7,600 square miles of ocean. Really? I mean, how have you done that? If you search 7,000, you mean on the surface you've searched that, right? Thanks, Ellen. Appreciate it. So what they're really saying is on the surface they tested it. What banging are you talking about? What banging noise? If there was banging noise, wouldn't they have found them? Oh well, send me the link, Kubi, then, if it was just leaked. I mean, leaked? Who leaked it? I mean, come on, I don't know, man. At 12,500 feet underwater, there are a few vessels able to dive deep enough to find it. It comes after DailyMail.com revealed that OceanGate refused to put their submersible through an independent inspection process and fired a director in 2018 after he asked for more rigorous safety tests. Bosses fired David Lockridge, who was director of marine operations for the Titan project, after disagreeing with his demand for more rigorous safety checks. OceanGate, which charges $250,000 for a seat on the submersible, suggested that seeking classification could take years and would be anathema to rapid innovation. So, meaning it would take them too long to... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's regulations. This sort of gives, a boost to the word regulations. That's why they have regulations, and that's why they take a while, because they want, you got to be things that have been tested, and you want to sidestep all that, and this is kind of what happens when you do that. I hate, I'm not a big fan of regulations either, to be honest with you. Okay, let's see what this says. This is in Rolling Stone. An aircraft heard sounds at 30-minute intervals from the area where the sub... What do you mean? How can an aircraft hear anything underwater? According to internal emails sent to DHS leader obtained by Rolling Stone. Searching for the missing Titan submersible, which failed to return Sunday from an expedition to the wreckage of the Titanic, detected banging in 30-minute intervals coming from the area the divers disappeared according. But what are they listening to though? They're in the air. Sonar, you have to be in the water, right? Hey Cindy, let me just go through how I want to go through it, Cindy. Why do you do that? Don't tell me how you type stuff in like that. It's weird. 30-minute intervals coming from the area the diver has disappeared, according to internal email updates sent to Department of Homeland Security leadership. RCC Halifax launched a P-8 Poseidon, which has underwater detection capabilities. Okay, so maybe there was something you put on the surface that beamed up a signal to the jet, or the plane flying over. So the RCC Halifax launched a P-8 Poseidon, which has underwater detection capabilities from the air. The DHS, so that probably, it's on the surface, and it sends, you know, that's kind of odd though, man. Come on, Cindy, you did it to me again, man. You did it to me again. How will they rescue them? That's the whole thing, yeah. How do you get people down there that deep? I mean, if you pull them up, I don't know if they have that anti-pressure situation that they've got, but let's see what one of these is. Boeing P-8 Poseidon. Oh, that's actually... Wow, so what do they, how do they listen with one of these things? That's crazy. Truly multi-mission maritime patrol aircraft excelling at anti-submarine warfare. Wow. Anti-surface warfare, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and search and rescue. The P-8 can fly higher, up to 41,000 feet, and get the fight faster. Short transit times reduce the size of the area of probability that searching for submarines, surface vessels, or search and rescue survivors. That's what they're doing here. P-8 is also designed for low altitude missions and has already proven its ability supporting humanitarian and search and rescue missions. A proven system with more than 155 aircraft in service. The P-8 has two variants, the P-8-1, flown by the Indian Navy, and the P-8A Poseidon, flown by the U.S. Navy, the United Kingdom's Royal Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force, Royal Norwegian Air Force, and Royal New Zealand Air Force. Militaries have selected the P-8, include the Republic of Korea Navy. The P-8 combines the most advanced weapon systems in the world with the cost advantages of the most operated commercial airlines on the planet. The P-8 shares 86% commonality with the commercial 737 NG, providing enormous supply chain economies of scale. Huh. Well, I'm trying to figure out how flying in a plane, though, you can hear way down into the water. But obviously they have something on there that they're able to detect submarines. That's pretty interesting, right? April the giraffe's girl birth? Come on. Jesus. This is sort of more for me. It's not even close though. Remember the Thailand, those kids that were lost in the cave? Yeah, so that's what I think too, Flounder 23, that they must have like sonar buoys in the water and the plane's listening to those things. Because there's really no way, I don't think they have that technology yet to be in a plane and sort of beam down something into the water and listen. You know, but I could easily see if there's buoys like you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me grab the other one. I was trying to get the one that oh yeah, so they KK sent me something that's sort of exactly what we were just saying. It looks like they fly by and they drop from parachutes these buoys that go into the water and float around. So let's see if this is it? No, that's her. You know, when you send me something, send me the link instead of these tiny, tiny pictures that nobody can see. So I'm gonna get the Daily Mail version of it. Likely signs of life have been detected. Rescued plane, hunting missing Titanic submarine. You know what would be weird is if they're like at, 3,000 feet below and they're just sort of hovering and they can't move and they're stuck. That would be a decent scenario too. I think there's no chance that they're on the surface. Please what? Hope of finding the Titanic 5, the crew on board a missing sub on an expedition to the Titanic shipwreck have grown after rescue groups reported signs of life and banging sounds. A Canadian aircraft, part of the enormous search mission looking for the missing Titanic tourists, heard banging at 30-minute intervals in the area of the submarine disappeared. Well, it's a submersible, not a submarine. So if you're out there, KK, send me the actual link that had that image in it. Huh? I don't get it, Moxie. I don't get it. The banging was noted in email exchange with the U.S. Department. What did you hack their emails or something? Homeland Security. Richard Garriott, president of the Explorer Club, confirmed in a Tuesday night social media post that there is cause for hope. Wow, that's amazing. In a statement, he said, "We have much greater confidence that, one, there is cause for hope. Based on data from the field, we understand that likely signs of life have been detected at the site." Wow. Well, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, nothing you're sending me is working, KK, so quit sending me. It's not working. It's unclear when the banging sounds were heard, and officials have not confirmed. And it says sounds were hurt. You meant heard, right? And officials have not confirmed that reports or said that they have found the crew that has been stuck in the deep Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, I'm gonna go. God, hold on. Just a second. Wow. We got a battle royale going on over here. Hey, thanks, Caligal3. Yep. You okay, Blue? Just making sure.
Chewbacca?
They're not tourists.
Clapping hands. Amazing.
Oh, okay. Cool, Moxie. Yeah, we know, Cindy. Thanks for the explanation. Hey, everybody, listen to this. There's an update. Cindy J has let us know that it wasn't a real dog fight. They were just playing. For all those out there that have never seen dogs playing, we just wanted to let you know as to not trigger you, okay? Now, if you are triggered, we do have a wonderful, wonderful trigger bunny just for you, okay? Now, where that trigger bunny is, I have no idea, but it does exist, all right? And if it ever gets to a point where you feel like you have to have it, well, there it is right there. Where is he? All right. So when you're feeling triggered, everybody, get the trigger bunny, honey. He ain't funny. Oh, he's dancing on the goal up there. Yeah, anyways. So, let's see. RCC Halifax launched a P-8 Poseidon, which has underwater detection capability from the air. The announcement also stated that Joint Rescue Coordination Center is working to find an underwater remote operated vehicle through partner organizations to possibly assist. Wow, so they are thinking. I mean, you know what would be interesting is that device probably can tell you what depth, you know, when you put that buoy in the water and it hears something, I bet you there's technology that gives specific information on where that might be. Yeah, 1200, yeah. The announcement also stated that Joint Rescue Coordination Center is working to find an underwater remote operated vehicle through partner organizations to possibly assist. Previous reports on the search for the missing submersible have stated that the Navy manned rescue craft can only descend about 2,000 feet underwater, and that if the divers were discovered closer to the approximate 13,000 foot depth of the Titanic wreckage, an underwater drone or remote operated vehicle would be necessary to reach them. Wow, but they're going to have to do that quick. The Boston Coast Guard declined to comment on the reported banging sounds, as did the Joint Rescue Coordination Center. An email sent Tuesday afternoon from the president of Travel and Research Group, the Explorers Society, stated, "It is being reported that at 2 a.m. local time, on site." So was that yesterday then? The sonar detected potential tapping sounds at the location, implying crew may be alive and signaling. The Boston Coast Guard, which is leading the rescue efforts, did not immediately reply. But see, that would have been, if it was 2 a.m., it's not today, right? Unless that isn't, if it's in that time zone, I mean, I don't know how far away, well, I guess so. I mean, this is, it's 7:59, 8, it would be 11 o'clock here, and shit, I mean, let's see. And if that's, that could be like right now. What time is it in? Okay. Where is this? Yeah, it's Newfoundland. How come it's only 12:29? I guess because it's more like this, right? But it's only 12:29, so it's 4 hours ahead. And so this would be one, so that must have been yesterday then, when they were hearing those sounds. Because right here it's only 12, or now it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Actually, that's 5 hours ahead there. So that means it could be right here that it's 2, but that would be what? You just got the intel like 2 seconds ago and made an article. So I think it's probably yesterday. Wonder why they wouldn't bring that up in a press conference. I guess you don't want to get people's hopes up. The mass emails said that 2 society members were on board the Titan and urged the group to contact their representatives about using remote operated vehicles made by a private UK-based company. A team out of the UK named Magellan has an ROV rated for 6,000 meters. So that's 1,800 feet. Or actually more like 20,000 feet. Which is loaded on a plane and ready and waiting to help. The email stated, but the U.S. government and USCG have not yet given them permits. See, look at that kind of stuff. Doesn't that just make you want to vomit, if that's true? Stuff like that, like, well, they haven't been given a permit yet, so we're going to have to, you know. No, you just do it. You put the damn thing on a plane and you get it there. You don't need this. When you're trying to rescue people, you get rid of red tape, right? Well, Gray, a minute ago you said red tape's important for... No, this is an already approved... The Boston Coast Guard has not responded to questions about the depth grading of the ROV currently in use. According to the Coast Guard, the Titan lost contact with its support ship 1 hour and 45 minutes into Sunday dive. A massive search and race against time has ensued since the craft reportedly had just 96 hours worth of oxygen available at the time after it lost contact. A DHS official told Rolling Stone that as of 5 hours ago, the Titan still had 40 hours of oxygen left, and stated that the situation looks bleak, adding that they believe the banging was coming from the craft, but that haven't heard any noises since yesterday. Oh, okay. That's not good news, right? Or they just... I don't think you would give up on something like that if you were still awake. Huh? The Titan is 21 feet long vehicle from the tourism company Ocean Gate Expeditions. It's a Cyclops class craft with a single porthole for observation, designed to take paying customers on deep sea explorations. It's in a statement, Ocean Gate said, "Our entire focus is on the crew members in the submersible and their families," adding, "We are exploring and mobilizing all options to bring the crew back safely." The 4 passengers aboard, alongside a pilot, have been identified as Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, and then French Titanic expert Paul Henry Nargiolet, and Hamish Harding, a chairman of Dubai-based Action Aviation. Before departing on the expedition, Harding posted on his Instagram account about the trip, "We've started streaming from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada yesterday and are planning to start dive operations around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning." We started streaming for St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada yesterday and are planning to start dive operations around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Until then, we have a lot of preparations and briefings to do. Well, I mean, here's the thing, everybody. The moment you heard the tapping, you get something down there as quick as possible. So the first organization says, "Yeah, we got something ready to go." Boom, you get it over there. I mean, why there isn't something in the water right now when this happened a couple days ago, like yesterday, is ridiculous. If it did happen. This is just an article we're reading here. Okay, here's I just got an email from let's see, Sunita. This has, I think this is similar to what KK sent, but I couldn't see hers. So it looks like sonobuoy. A sonobuoy is a device designed to listen for trace noises from enemy submarines. See, I knew there had to be something in the water to transmit to the plane. There's no technology yet without having something like that. The sonobuoy jettisons through the Orion's launcher near the tail. The sonobuoy is, I'm not gonna, it says, it does say the sonobuoy is retarded and stabilized in flight by a parachute. Okay. Then upon impact with the water, the parachute is released. Okay, then it says, at a predetermined depth, pressure causes gas bottle to puncture. The expandable gas separates the sonobuoy into 2 parts. A suspension cable holds the halves together. See, this is what I was saying. Remember the when I put my GoPro in the water, it can record and everything like that. If your GoPro is out of water, it sends a signal to your camera and you can watch it. Once the GoPro goes in the water, you can't see it, but you can attach a cable to, like a wire, to your GoPro inside, and then put some like waterproof tape on it, and then string it up the pole that you're holding the camera in the water with, and then have that touch your phone and you can still see the video. So I think that's sort of, I mean, just really randomly, but this wire here is similar. I don't know how long that wire is though. The expanded gas separates the buoy upper unit containing a radio frequency transmitter returns to the surface. The lower portion sinks to a oh wow, so that means the thing on the surface, you could have a wire that goes 10,000 feet. I mean, you could have one that goes 2,000 feet down, and then it sends a signal up to the floating portion, and then that transmit to a plane. That's a really pretty cool technology right there. Thank you. Yes, everybody, and if you'd like to help support the channel, we are now at 1 hour and 42 minutes. Had a rough day today on the earlier show, so if we can make tonight a really successful one, that'd be great. Thank you. The lower portion sinks to a pre-selected depth. Once there, it deploys a hydrophone array and a precise magnetic compass. Man, that's awesome. Once deployed the water, the pre-programmed sonobuoys hydrophone antenna arrays pick up specified sounds. The crew aboard the P3 Orion can analyze the data from the multiple sonobuoys to triangulate. In active mode, the sonobuoy pings and listens for a rebound in order to see enemy submarines. In this case, the sonobuoys are passive and listening only. The signals are moderated by the transmitter and then relayed to an airborne processor aboard the Orion. The array has 5 arms, which with 5... Oh, I bet you this acts like a cell tower, and it can tell you which direction it pinged from. How much you want to bet? Any signals detected by the hydrophone are sent via the suspension cable to the upper unit. I bet you anything that this is sort of like a cell tower, and it'll tell you which segment that it pinged from, and that way you get the azimuth out that direction or azimuth out in that direction where a submarine might be. Thank you, Rita Schaefer. Anyways, thanks for sending that. That really gives a great explanation of that. So, the jet probably flew by, dropped a few tons of those sonobuoy, what do you call them? Sonobuoy, or sonobuoy, whatever you want to call it, right? Into the water, and it flew by, and then it detected sounds from one of them. Yeah, we just explained it, Debbie. Right there on the, right there, it was pretty simple. No, I'm sure they have. But if they have way better, wouldn't you use it in a situation like this? Seems like it's pretty standard. But maybe the sonobuoys improve over time, and that's where the crazy technology is. So we just sort of hear this sort of basic description, but now this is just from the AP here. The vessel that went missing Sunday in the North Atlantic while exploring the Titanic wreckage is a submersible, not a submarine, and there is a key difference. So now we get to learn that. The Titan, with 5 people on board, remained missing Tuesday, even as an international search and rescue effort was underway. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration explained the difference. A submarine has enough power to leave port and come back to port under its own power. But a submersible has more limited power and range. It needs a mothership from which to launch and then to return to for support and communications. The Titanic's mothership is the Polar Prince, a former Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker. And so I guess that's the an answer. Welcome, Silverleaf. Yeah, so make sure to hit that like button, you guys. I mean, it's not hard. What you do is you take your thumb or your index finger, whatever one is the most, easiest for you to do, and you actually press the like button, right? And it makes it a lot easier if you hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30, hit that like button, 20, 25, 30, let's get that one going for 549, 549, do I hear 600, do I hear 600? We need to get up to 600 really quick or we don't keep going. Let's get to 600, 600, 600. We're at 559, 559, 559. We need 600, 600, 600, 563, 563. Come on, let's go 566. There's no harm, no foul. Hit that like button. Easiest damn thing in the world. Man, you guys are so lazy. It's unbelievable. Intensified search for a Titanic tourist sub, an incredibly complex operation. I think I'm going to do that too, Eugenie. Here we go. Let's do it. I'm going to gift a membership. How do you like that? Or some memberships. And that'll be what we do tonight. Membership gifting. And here we go. Right, there we go. So 5 of you lucky viewers out there will get memberships. There you go. There you go. Nope, you didn't get one, Lori. Alright, so it says the search intensified Tuesday for the submersible that vanished 2 days ago in the North Atlantic Ocean, as ships and aircrafts from US and Canada joined the effort to locate the small vessel carrying 5 people. Titanic wreckage site before it runs out of oxygen. Captain Jamie Frederick of the 1st Coast Guard District in Boston said the Titan, as the submersible is known, had about 40 hours of breathable air left around 1 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday. Let's see. Oh, so they're almost complete. What are they at now then? So that was 40 hours. It's, man, they're only at like a 25 or something, if that's the case. Thank you, Mary Buchanan. Yes, everybody hit that like button. Very, very simple. Don't tell me what to do, Gray. I'll hit the like button if I want to. Gee. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know it was that serious for you. Captain Jamie Frederick of the 1st Coast Guard District in Boston said the Titan, as the submersible is known, had about 40 hours of breathable air left. He added that an underwater robot had started searching in the vicinity of the Titanic and that there was a push to get salvage equipment. Wow, they've already gone down to the... So it must be, you know, I bet it's sort of hovering, you know, in the middle somewhere. I mean, 2 miles is huge. So if you're like a half mile off of where you're looking, you can't see it. And it's also not the level you thought you were going to look at. Let's see. He added that an underwater robot had started searching in the vicinity of the Titanic and that there was a push to get salvage equipment to the scene in case the sub is found. Besides that, 3 C-130 aircraft and 3 C-17 transport planes from the U.S. military have been aiding the search, and the Canadian military said it provided a patrol aircraft and 2 surface ships. Still, the remote location, 900 miles east of Cape Cod and 13,000 feet, it's really like 12,500, but I mean, below the sea level, make the pursuit an incredibly complex operation. The carbon fiber submersible has 96 hours of oxygen supply when it went to sea at about 6 a.m. Sunday. So let's see, 24. So basically what they're saying is 48. Yeah, so 96 is 4 days. So that means 6 a.m. Sunday. So that would be 6 a.m. Thursday when it completely, let's see. So Sunday, 6 a.m. And then Monday at 6 a.m. Tuesday at 6 a.m. Yeah, so Thursday at 6 a.m. That's when it's, you know, technically out, right? So that means we have from now, and that must be 6 a.m. local time. So that'd be like 9 in the morning here. So that would mean, you know, from right now we're at night. So basically 9 in the morning tomorrow would give 24 hours left. Huh, well that's a little different than what people are saying. I mean, if that's completely accurate right there, that means... Thanks, Cheryl Bullock. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out if it's what local time is there.
Chewbacca?
Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
So tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. there's 24 hours left. But that's their time. So right now it's like 11:20 on the East Coast. So you add 24 plus about 6, so maybe like 30 hours still left. Now if they're talking about like out in the ocean there, then they're 5 or 6 hours ahead, and then it's more like 28 hours left or something. 27 or 28. Yeah, but I think it's another hour after that. Yeah, but I don't care if you said it 100 times, LM. I'm just doing my own calculations. I don't read everybody's comment. Right back to your old comments. I mean, Jesus Christ. The carbon fiber submersible had 96-hour oxygen supply when it went to sea at about 6 a.m. Sunday, according to David Concannon, an advisor to Ocean Gate Expedition, the deep sea exploration. Hey, good for you, though. I'm glad you said it 15 or 20 times. It's awesome. Yeah, but it's 12:20 in there. Yeah. They said 96 oxygen supply is only Right, like they could be breathing in really fast, right? LM. I mean, if they're like kind of panicky and stuff, it maybe cuts off about 8 hours. And maybe that's all already gone. I don't think so, Yvonne. I think I wasn't mean whatsoever there. But yeah, let's do it. You sent me to prison, I'm going. Alright, so we're now in prison and we're frozen. We can't go over any more information until I get the hell out of here. I'm going to have to create its own like bail count. So when the freaks bail me out of prison, we'll get back to some of this information. I don't really think they're alive. Yeah, I think when it lost contact at 1:40, an hour and 45 minutes in. But I don't know. What about that the banging on the sub? It means somebody sent me to prison and you guys have to bail me out. Sort of helps support the channel, actually. But looks like I'll be in here a long time this time. Or it just could just mean the show's over. You know, if you don't get out of prison, how do you do the show? Mm-hmm. Thanks, Yvonne. I'm thinking that, Yvonne, you'll be helping bail me out, right? Since you threw me in here. Oh, there you go, Daphne. A drink on the way home. There you go.
A drink on the way.
Amber got me enough to give the like a, you know, a pack of cigarettes to the guard. Kathy Chapins doesn't say what it was for, and then Rita Schaefer said get the hell out of prison, and then Chives is for some zebra cakes while you're in the slammer. Oh, and then a Snickers bar. Now, I would stay in prison for a Snickers bar, okay? Because who doesn't love Snickers? I mean, I think, don't you guys agree that Snickers is probably like the #1 go-to candy bar? Like, if you could only ever have one again, that might be the one, right? I don't think so, Gray. I like the paydays. Well, good. Then just grab a bucket of peanuts and some caramel and call it a day, all right? Hey, thanks, Cheryl Bullock, and all you guys, Renee H. Yeah, there's always somebody always has something to say different. Right, but Snickers is the one that if there was one only, I think it's actually good for you.
For some zebra cakes while you're in the slammer.
Alright. Thanks for bailing me out, you guys. Oops, it didn't keep going. It should have, though. Oh, there it is. Razor for shaving? Do I need one? I guess a little bit. Thanks. Yvonne T. Yeah, you're the one that threw me in there. Jeez. And Teresa. If this company was encouraging passengers to nap... Oops. Encouraging passengers to nap on descent and ascent to conserve on oxygen... That sounds like a major... Is that really what they're saying? That's ridiculous. That means it's like kind of close all the time, right? The Velvet Army, Prison Cereal, Booberry, and Count Chocula. Man, yes. I think that's what I was thinking about earlier when I said that I've eaten that one. Thanks for the stream with humor. Yeah. No problem, Mimi. Yeah, we don't joke around about the people, but you know, it's just like, come on. Thank you, Mimi and Lisa L and Valerie Hotsfeld for some soap on a rope. Now, people have sent me that many times, and I appreciate that. You don't ever want to have to bend over in prison to pick up soap. I can tell you that. How are you able to tell us that, Gray? Well, I'm just picturing that. Why are you picturing that, Gray? Well, I would just... I love score butter finger. Can you just say that Snickers are the best overall candy bar? Okay. Now you might like the Butterfingers occasionally, like you eat it and go, God, that was good. But if you had to have one for nutritional value, I think that's the one, right? It's got the peanuts, the nougat, whatever the hell that is. You notice how they just gloss right over nougat? Oh yeah, it's got the nougaty current. Well, wait, what is that though? I mean, tell us what that is. It's kind of this weird cement that you just sort of eat, and you call it something, and yeah, I like Almond Joys, but I wouldn't make that my only one. For example, like mint chocolate chip is my go-to ice cream, but I also like peanut butter chocolate. That's my, that's one of my. Those two are my favorites. Yeah, I don't like that word either, Amber. It just sort of sounds fake. Yeah, it's almost like a diss, right? Man, you're such a nougat. You know? That's right. See what I'm saying, Teresa? Oh, Twix are just, I don't know. Twix... You know, I don't know. They're just not really. They're not there. They're not it for me. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Slapstick. I always get angry. Like I don't want candy. I don't get angry, but I get like bummed out when candy's brought home, because I'm not somebody that can eat, like, let's say there's a whole bag of M&Ms, you know, those big huge bags. I can't have 5 or 6 M&Ms and then the next day have 5. I have to eat every damn last one of them. It's just I can't. You know, like a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups, those little ones that have the little wrapper on them. How do you just let them sit there? There's no chance. That doesn't happen. Just be honest, you guys. Alright, so here we go. It says, alright, still the remote location 900 miles east of Cape Cod. I'm not sure why they keep saying that, but that's where Massachusetts over there, way out on the edge there, I guess. Look how many of these cases we've covered in that area. And let's see how accurate they are on that. That's, well, I have it say, it says 1,047. So they're off by 100 miles there. Easily. Let's see. 13,000 feet below sea level. The carbon fiber submersible has a 96-hour oxygen supply. Let's see. Jim Bellingham, a Johns Hopkins University expert on deep sea operations, told USA Today that there are 3 possible locations for the submersible. One possibility is that it could be floating on the ocean's surface after an electrical failure or some other mishap. No, I think that's an option, but very unlikely. Another is that it is drifting in the water column. That's what I was thinking. Anywhere between the surface and the bottom. Right, exactly. That's the one that would be harder to find. because it becomes buoyantly neutral. Exactly. It just sort of, wherever it broke down, it stopped and stayed. That's basically what I was saying earlier. That's the option I think it is. I think it's hovering in an area that you're just not looking at, because it's not like the bottom where the wreckage is. You go down there and you look. It's probably, like, let's just say it's a mile deep, and it's sort of drifted a half mile outside of, sort of like directly down. It's so small, man. What a hard thing to find that would be. So they need something in there that can detect, like, side sonar type stuff, where you go down and then it's looking to the side and it detects anomalies. Something like that. The first one is by, let's see. Because it becomes buoyantly neutral, or it could be on the seafloor, perhaps tangled with something that won't let it float to the top. The first one is by far the best position, Billingham said, because even though it would be difficult to spot the 21-foot-long Titan amid the waves, the Coast Guard is just awesome at this. They have amazing capability to see something pretty small in the ocean. Rear Admiral John Mauger, commander of the 1st Coast Guard District, told NBC today's show, Tuesday, that his crews were working to prioritize underwater search efforts and get equipment there. Alistair Gregg, a professor of marine engineering at University College London, said submersibles typically have a drop weight, which is a mass they can release in the case of an emergency to bring them up to the surface using buoyancy. A power failure, let's see, so what does it say? Typically have a drop weight, which is a mass. Okay, so they're neutral, like a diver. You know how they scuba divers, they wear a wetsuit, they put their fins on, they go in the water, they put their tanks on, and if they float, they have to put weights on them, like counterbalance weights type of thing, and then they sink down, and then you want it to be where you just hover where you're at, much kind of like a drone, that like the DJI drones now. As soon as you let go of the controls, they just hover right where they're at, and it takes you to go up or down. But in this case, you use weights. So you would take weights out of this submersible, and then it would just rise by itself. You wouldn't want to do it too quick, though. Experts told the Associated Press the challenges are difficult. So the part where you're saying a mass they can release in the case of an emergency to bring them up to the surface using buoyancy. A power failure would leave the vessel bobbing on the surface, he said. There could also be a leak in the pressure hull, he said. If it has gone down to the seabed and can't get back up under its own power, options are very limited, Gregg said. While the submersible might still be intact, if it is beyond the continental shelf, there are very few vessels that can get that deep, and certainly not divers. Oh, jeez. OceanGate, the company that this has become OceanGate, hasn't it? The company that, what an unfortunate name for their company. OceanGate, the company that operates the missing submersible, was warned its approach to the enterprise could have a catastrophic outcome, according to a 2018 letter written by leaders in the submersible craft industry obtained by the New York Times. The letter was addressed to OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who's on board the current voyage, according to the company, by members of the Marine Technology Society, an organization that advocates for ocean technology and education. The 30-plus signatories said they were apprehensive about the company's experimental approach to its planned exploration of the Titanic wreckage and about the vessel's design, believing they could lead to safety problems that would have a negative impact on the industry as a whole. The letter also says OceanGate claimed that its watercraft design meets or surpasses safety standards, is misleading to the public, and breaches an industry-wide professional code of conduct we all endeavor to uphold. Meets or surpasses safety standards, is misleading to the public. OceanGate Expeditions website, accessed through the internet archived by USA Today, said all passengers on expeditions are required to be briefed on safety requirements and how to don what is described as a survival suit. A survival suit can protect people from freezing water, and some specialized suits can act as a raft approved for use when submerged up to 600 feet, according to the Department of Defense. The Titan takes passengers down more than 13,000 feet. Passengers on the submersible are also advised to restrict your diet before and during the dive to reduce the likelihood that you will need to use the facilities. For what they're really saying is they don't want you to take craps when you're down in that machine. Okay? You know, like, don't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken 12 hours before you go down the submersible. Don't go to 7-Eleven and, buy a few foot-long burritos, for example. Yeah, that probably wouldn't go well down. I'll tell you what, though. The burrito might have saved lives, though, because what would happen with the burrito is it would release gases that might actually make that ship more buoyant. We just don't know at this point. But I would actually start recommending that people eat burritos when they go. Gravy sakes. Come on. Yeah. Passengers on the submersible are also advised to restrict your diet before and during the dive to reduce the likelihood that you will need to use the facilities. Those going on submersible diving expeditions have to be at least 18 and able to demonstrate basic strength and balance requirements, such as climbing a ladder and carrying 20 pounds, the site says. You mean like any human, really, at that point. Passengers might assist with a variety of tasks on the submersible, the website says, including sonar operation, taking photos or videos, and assisting the pilot with communications between the sub and the surface. Organ failure, a major threat is oxygen level dip. Dr. Albert Rizzo, Chief Medical Officer of the American Lung Association, said those aboard the submersible would be experiencing organ failure as oxygen levels dip and less of it flows to the brain. Something that crossed my mind. You guys remember that, I think it was in Virginia, where that coal mining accident, and those miners were trapped down there, and they all had those oxygen tanks, but it was taking too long to find them, so the older ones gave this younger new father, with a wife and everything, they just let themselves all die, and that one person had all the different tanks and just barely lived. I mean, by the time they got in there, he was just barely alive, but he lived, and that was because all those people. Imagine having to make that decision. So I was just thinking about, in this case, there's really no way to. It's not like they're individual tanks. It's kind of just in the room, right? I think it was early 2000s, something. Maybe, something like that, like 2002 or so. I mean, I'm just trying to remember the time. It seemed like it was after 9/11, but not too far after that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible it imploded. like that. Okay, so KK just sent me this one. Missing Ocean Gate CEO was sued for fraud by Florida couple who accused him of taking $210,000 to see Titanic wreck when he knew the vessel was not ready. Okay, well, I mean, you know, that's... I don't know if that's like related. You know, it's hard to say that's related. It just means he's kind of unethical. Where you at, LM? What else you got? What is like inside the missing? Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. Yes, it's really small inside of it. Yeah, it just means he's kind of, I don't know, bad faith. He just, you know, just getting money. You know, maybe it wasn't ready exactly when they wanted it, but hopefully he gave it back to him. I don't really, those kind of things, I don't really, I'm more just interested in trying to figure out, like, how the hell they're going to rescue these people, or if they're even still alive. I don't think they floated to the surface. I mean, maybe eventually they'll float to the surface, but I don't think the craft floated to the surface. Doesn't make sense. What are these things that people send that you can't even open up? I don't know what people are sending me. How big is this? Oh, okay, is that it? Race against time for missing sub. Sunday 8 a.m. Titan begins to dive. Oh, what happened? Oh, there you go. Oh, look at it. He made it exactly. That was a John Dunn move.
Thanks for the show last night. Watched in rerun mode. I live near Kellogg and hadn't heard until your show. Probably because I don't watch local woke news.
Yeah, well, there you go. Look at that. But he put in exactly the amount to make the stream goal absolutely even there. Yeah, they showed him in court today. In that case, I think that guy is toast. You know. He shouldn't have killed any of them, but he surely shouldn't have killed the other 3 people. Let's see, Sunday 11:15. Last photo of the Titan shared by. So you actually shared that photo there. So they run out. That's if they're not breathing hard, right? Only 2 vessels on Earth can complete the mission. Wow. The Triton and Curve 21, maybe? Is that what it's called? Yeah, it can go 20,000 feet. Yeah, it doesn't look too good, does it, you guys? It's not looking good. Serpents and monsters in the depth of water. I don't, huh? Serpent, what do you mean? Huh? Thanks, Cindy Edenfield. That's what I was thinking, Michelle. Will mission continue, or will they change? Well, I mean, who's going to do it? The owner's not even alive. I think this will. If this ends up being where everybody dies, I think regardless of what happens here, this is going to change whatever industry this guy was trying to do with this deep sea thing. They're going to make it way more regulated with tests, and you have to pass different things. And I think in the long run that's good, right? I mean, that's what they did with airplanes. That's why when you look at a picture with planes flying around in the air and you wonder how the hell they're not crashing and all this stuff, that's because they did all these tests. They're very safe, right? So wouldn't it be great if those were really safe? I don't know why you're sending me those links. What's this one? I don't need to see Lookner's links. Thanks. I mean, Lookner's no more. He just repeats what other people say. He's not an expert on anything. Okay, he's good at reporting on it, but he's not an expert. So when he's not somebody you quote. You just what you want to quote is the article he's quoting, not him. All right, there's no difference. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what you do is send me the link that he's quoting. But he's good at like compiling all the different. I mean, that's kind of what we all do, right? When I do it in the true crime world, where I try to put together the information to tell the story. So here's the CNN link where it says, banging sounds heard during Titan search according to internal U.S. government memo. Now, sonar has been picked up banging sounds Tuesday from, so I guess today, underneath the water, but it was really early in the morning while searching for a submersible with 5 people on board that went missing 2 days earlier. It was unclear when the banging was heard Tuesday or how long, based on the memo obtained by CNN. A later update sent Tuesday night suggested more sounds were heard, though it was not described as banging. Additional acoustic feedback had heard. God, I hope it wasn't like people screaming and shit like that. The Canadian P-3 aircraft also located a white rectangular object in the water, according to that update, but another ship sent to investigate was diverted to help research. Yeah, but it's hard to know, you know, like, I don't really trust CNN either, you know. It's like, how do you read something that CNN said when they sold a bunch of garbage for 2 years, you know, bogus Russian investigations, that the virus in China didn't start in a lab. It did, you know. So all the things that they called people conspiracy theory about, now you sort of wonder, what are they accurate about, you know? So the things that they were calling people conspiracy theorists were true, so who are they now to... I don't even know what to do with CNN. I think they're the most unreliable news organization on the planet. So, yeah, they are reporting it, but there you go. Yeah. Yeah, so that story right there could be 100% accurate, but I'd rather hear it from somebody else. I mean, go watch the clips of... I mean, let me just tell you guys something. This is something I told the freaks that usually watch the show. But when the coronavirus first came out, Cairo watches these two guys. They lived in China for 10, 15 years. I think they even married Chinese wives. They speak... They're Americans, but they... Caucasian even. And they speak perfect Mandarin, Chinese, and they love China, but they hate the leadership there. They hated it. I mean, they think it's just... But it doesn't really matter. I mean, right when the virus came out, they were reading the newspapers about the lab in Wuhan, China, who was doing research on the coronavirus, and they were doing ads to get scientists there to do research on it. And then I guess apparently they could tell that somebody got one of the women there got a job there, and their face was on the website. And then right when the virus broke out, that lady's picture disappeared. And they were saying that it is incredibly likely that virus started in that lab. And it turns out then whenever the last president, I know saying his name triggers you, a lot of you. When he would say, yeah, it looks like it might have started in the lab, and then CNN and all those guys had to come out and say, oh, it's xenophobic. Oh, it's nuts, you guys. The FBI has even said that it started in the lab there. Then just recently, it's even a bigger situation where they've determined that the three people from that lab died early on. Guess what, everybody? They were probably executed by the Chinese, because what are the odds that all three of them died from the coronavirus? Okay? Right. Yeah, you can say it. It's Trump. Okay? Now, I can understand why people don't like him, but he was accurate on that. And he was telling the truth when there was no Russian collusion. All made up stuff. And that's all been proven recently, but it seems weird that people aren't willing to say, wow, I got suckered by listening to CNN and MSNBC and those guys. All right? Anyways. Just admit it that you got bamboozled and say to yourself, what should my punishment be to the people who bamboozled me? Right. I want to know Hope found him. I have no idea what that means, Sarah, but we'll have to... Mexico is... Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I think that might be the one that went missing. One of the three lab workers. And I gotta tell you, doesn't it make you more nervous about the virus itself, knowing that it was created in a lab on gain of function, adding things to it, man-made? It kind of reminds you of the movie 12 Monkeys. You might want to check that one out. Hey, it's about whatever I want it to be about, simp. Okay, so go simp somewhere else. Let's see. No, I was just giving you an explanation of why you can't really believe CNN. Like, who knows what they type? It means anything at all. Yeah, I did read that one. But that doesn't mean anything. There's lots of white rectangular items in the water.
Hello and welcome to the Ocean's Gate Expeditions. Titan is a 21,000 pound, 22 foot long, electrically driven submarine for 5 people. The test depth is calculated to be 4,000 meters, and this is kind of key because right now this is just the naval architect engineering calculating the strength of the.
Wow, so 4,000 meters is 13,123 feet. So how do you actually make it down to the level of the Titan? On what site? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let's see. Weird how the portal was only rated to 1,300. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty. Richard Canick the mechanic. He sent me this.
That is just
video
loomed left and right until it becomes 5 inches
It looks
thick.
like this.
It's a carbon fiber wrap that's designed to withstand the pressures of 4,000 meters of sea depth. Here is a video of it being, of the titanium hatch rings being installed on one of the ends. Watch this. That's the idea.
Let's see.
You're set. Do you always put fresh back? All right, so let's test ever done. We don't know. There's no information on that. There's
really
simply a
small in
claim
there, so.
on the website that they have 96 hours of life support.
Okay, so this must be
where
the Titan tragedy. So I guess he's. So the whole site is. I guess that's the name of the video, or yeah, the Titan tragedy. So he put this up 8 hours ago and it has 190,000 views. So I'll just let him. I'm not going to play his video on here. Can't do that. Titanic submersible live updates. Search for missing vessel has covered over 10,000 square miles. Yeah, on this. Well, I mean, I guess if they're putting those sonobuoys in there, that might be all over the place. That'd be good. And how do they collect those back up again later, by the way? Look for what name? The name of what? I looked and looked for the plane. Yeah, we looked in the water. Remember, the lady didn't see the plane, by the way. There's a lady that goes, oh, I saw where it was in the water. Yeah, she didn't see a damn thing. I saw the movie on it. The CEO of Ocean Gate Expeditions, Stockton Rush, was on board. There's less than 40 hours of oxygen. The submersible is part of the Ocean Gate Expedition tour that offers passengers a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Yeah, definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The U.S. Coast Guard is searching for the missing research submersible named Titan. The wreckage of the Titanic, the iconic ocean liner, sank more than a century ago, 900 nautical miles east. I think it's more like 1,000. The sub had up to 96 hours, although maybe a nautical mile is different. Let's see. Wow, look at that. It's 8675309. Today, the International Nautical Mile is defined as exactly 1,852 meters, or 6,076 feet. Right, so 5,000 miles, what, 5,280? Or is it? Man, now I can't remember. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's what it is. So there you go. That's where the difference is. That makes it 900 nautical miles. Not miles. The sub had up to 96 hours of oxygen supply, and by 1 p.m. Tuesday was down to about 41 hours. The price of a spot on the submersible was $250,000. The U.S. Coast Guard on Tuesday released an image showing the search pattern for the missing submersible. Okay, so they're just looking on the surface. I think that when they're saying 10,000 square miles, and then I think there's a whole different thing going on with the plane listening to the sono buoys. U.S. Coast Guard said Tuesday night that it and other agencies and searchers are operating under a unified command. More than 10,000 square miles have been searched. 3 Canadian Coast Guard ships, as well as a commercial vessel and a French research vessel, a vessel with remote-operated vehicles, and a Canadian Navy ship with mobile decompression chamber were on the way. Yeah. So.
I'm joined.
Yeah. I can't play that one. One of the best case scenarios that might have happened to the missing Titanic submersible will be if it has been entangled in the wreckage. Why is that a good case? Let's see. One of the best case scenarios that might have happened to the missing Titanic submersible would be if it has been entangled in the wreckage of the Titanic. If that's the case, it could make the submersible with 5 people aboard easy to find. Yeah, I mean, it does make it easy to find, but I mean, how do you get it the hell out of there and then untangle it? Lifting the submarine off the bottom is not as hard or difficult as one might think. It is still intact. It's unclear what happened to the submersible, and searchers are ongoing. Crazy. No. Well, it's good to see you, 8675309. Now, there's been no visual, but they apparently heard some banging every 30 minutes at 2 a.m. Depending on where you live. You know, where I live, it was this morning. So I live on the West Coast. Anything else out there? Looked like LM was pretty dialed in there. I don't know if she's got more links. What else we got? Aircraft can have sonar in the water. Yeah. We already went over all that. Huh? Man. I get these such long emails. Yeah, so another banging sounds again, but that's CNN, so forget it. Give me a different outlet. Oh yeah, so I just wait, look at, they have a ship tracker too, much like the airline one. That's pretty cool. So it's sort of similar to flight radar, I guess, but with ships. Thanks, Richard, the mechanic canic. Yeah, tonight, other than the trolls that showed up earlier, it seems like some pretty normal, cool people in here. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're one of those people. If not, then we'll just know that you weren't one of those people. Yeah. Oh, you need a membership. Well, thanks, John. Didn't even see that up there. 5 more memberships. All right. Yeah, I think something catastrophic happened after 145. Because if it wasn't, it seems like they would have just made their way back up to the surface. And if they went to the surface, I'm sure they could communicate with people. I mean, it's got to be a way that you're not just locked in. You're in it, like you're locked in. You can't get out if you get to the surface. I can't imagine that the owner of the ship wouldn't have a way to get out. You know. However, you know, if we were to believe that the tapping is real, then it couldn't have been something too catastrophic. It means that something happened where their power and things like that, or you know, something else happened down there. If the banging sound is true, then it wasn't something catastrophic that killed everybody immediately, right? So they're bolted in, they can't get out. Okay, so I guess that person that was making fun of me earlier, if that's true, I guess they couldn't have shot a flare up in the air. But how stupid is that? Yeah. But once it gets to the surface, though, aren't there ways, like pretty crude, you know, rudimentary ways to communicate with people? Like a radio or something, a battery-powered radio, or just something really simple. Now that just sounds ludicrous if that's the case. You can't even get out of it? Stupid. Yeah, you know what it sounds like? Something a kid would make. Like when we were kids, we had this big hill with these blackberry bushes at the bottom. And we thought, man, we could build this go-kart and we can all sit on and ride off. And you know, I think we built this thing with wheels and we got on it. We just crashed down the hill and, you know, it just, it wasn't really a lot of thought into it. I mean, first of all, if you're going to make this thing to bring people down, wouldn't you want it maybe a little bit bigger and maybe some seats for them where it's really comfortable and they can just sort of watch, and it's sort of like a sightseeing trip? Instead, he almost made like this little a can where there's a window at one end, and you go, hey Jimmy, come look out this window. Look, you can see the Titanic. Oh God! Hold in your gases, though, everybody. Do not fart in here. This place could. Yeah, it is. It doesn't sound like there was a lot of like, let's think through things. Yeah, don't go to the bathroom, for God's sakes. No toilets, no nothing. Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's what it's sort of sounding like at this point. Look, it only goes to 12,100 feet. I know the Titanic is 12,500, but we'll just push it a little extra. Don't worry about it. I don't know how many it's been on. It says the Titan has made 3 expeditions to the Titanic wreck site, the first of which was in July of 2021. So there's your answer. Not too many. I mean, they might have done other trips to other places, though. It was on its only 3rd trip since Ocean Gate expeditions began. Oh, God. Holy crap. Jesus. Well, that's not good. Three. Is that crazy or what? Yeah, but it just said it hasn't done that. The Titan has only made 3 well, not there. It was on its only 3rd trip since Ocean Gate expedition began. Oh, can't get on that one. The U.S. Coast Guard is getting help in its search effort from 2 other branches of the military. A spokesperson for the Navy said it was deploying its flyaway deep ocean salvage system to assist the Coast Guard. The equipment is specifically designed for the recovery of large, bulky, and heavy undersea objects. The Air Force will also provide aid by transporting rescue-related cargo. King Charles III has been asked to be kept up to date. Oh, wow. Boy, I mean, if King Charles knows, man, you know good things are going to happen, right? I mean, he is such an incredibly valuable resource that can just get things... Oh, wait a minute, he's just sort of a mascot. Never mind. Stockton Rush, Ocean Gate's chief executive, was piloting the submersible, the company confirmed Tuesday. Why even put this in here? King Charles is asked to be updated. Oh, yes. Yes. As soon as he hears about it, boy, it's all going to get solved. Yeah, there was one person that didn't go on the trip. Pilot said in lawsuit he was fired for warning Titan wasn't safe for deep dives. The pilot OceanGate hired to run manned tests of submersibles claimed 5 years ago in court papers that he was fired after he warned that the Titan's carbon shell was not properly tested to make sure it could descend safely to 4,000 meters. David Lockridge also claimed OceanGate refused to pay extra for a viewport that could be used safely at a depth of 4,000 meters. When he complained that OceanGate would be endangering customers, Lockridge said in the court papers he was given 10 minutes to immediately clear out his desk. Lockridge's claims were first reported by the New Republic, were in the counterclaim to a 2018 breach of contract lawsuit OceanGate's filed saying he was not an engineer. The two sides settled a few months later. Well, that means he won because, yeah. Hey, Elaine, thank you. That was very nice. Okay, the whole of the Titan vessel showed signs of cyclic fatigue, according to January 2020 interview with OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who is aboard the missing vessel. Rush told GreekWire that due to the stress, the hull rating was downgraded to a depth of 3,000 meters, 800 meters short of the Titanic depth.
And here's the crime.
In December 2019 slideshow that appears to have been presented to the Deep Submergence Science Committee of the University National Oceanographic Laboratory System listed the depth capability of the Titan at 3,000 meters. At the time, the CEO was announcing a new round of funding. You know what's weird is when these rich people sign up for things like that, they just assume that it's safe, you know. Oh, wow, they're offering this? Boy, let's do it. But this just sounds like, the Wright brothers, like you... you know, the Wright brothers said, hey, we got this plane, man. It can take you all the hell over to your cousin's house in the next state. And the guy runs down there, and you get on it, and they're running it down the fairway with their feet again, and it goes off the ground, and then, you know. That's what it feels like. Like, you've only done 3 trips down there. This thing is just being experimented with. Hey, you guys, we've got these new types of parachutes out there. We've only used them 3 times, but they worked every time. They're absolutely amazing. Now, what they have is they have holes in them, but the holes allow it to go quicker. And now we've got this other device that fills up the holes at a slow rate, and then it slows down. So even with the parachute on, we can go down at, you can still go down at like 200 miles an hour, and then you start pulling on these other strings, and it kind of closes them up, and then it slowly slows it down. And man, you guys should try one of these things. They're awesome. We haven't really tested them out very much, but man, are they fun. Yeah, that's probably not something that most people would even do, you know. God, it better be something really interesting, Ada. I don't have anything in the email from you. Sorry. Let's see. Let me bolt you into a tin can and drop you 2 miles into the sea. Yep. Sounds like a good time. Yeah, we already brought up the one that happened before. Yeah, it seems like there's different information out there. KK's really hell-bent on trying to prove that it had more dives in it. It has a whole bunch of dives. We gotta get on that thing. We don't know. Doesn't say it in this one. Yeah, I'll read this one here. A Coast Guard admiral says rescue crews are making the best use of every moment. By air and sea, rescue crews on Monday were racing to find 5 people in a submersible that went missing on Sunday. At a news conference in Boston on Monday afternoon, Rear Admiral John Marger of the U.S. Coast Guard said the rescue crews were searching in a remote area in the water roughly 13,000 feet deep. Plunging to the depths of the ocean in a submersible to explore the remains of the Titanic is just one of many extreme excursions on offer for travelers willing to pay a hefty price. They're also swimming with great white sharks in Mexico, sailing by an active volcano in New Zealand, and rocketing to space. These types of singular and dangerous adventures are becoming increasingly popular. A spokesman for the U.S. Coast Guard speaking to reporters said that the last reported communication from the submersible was about an hour and 45 minutes into the dive. The spokesman said that the sea conditions in the search area right now are fairly normal, with 3 to 6 foot waves with low visibility. Marger said that the United States has deployed 2 C-130 aircrafts with an additional on the way from New York National Guard. Marger said that 1 submersible pilot was on board and there are 4 mission specialists. Marger said it is believed the vessel was designed to sustain an emergency for 96 hours and estimated that the people inside would theoretically have between 70 to 96 hours of air. Well, 70 would mean they're almost out. We're using that time making the best use of every moment. Marger said the location of the search is approximately 900 miles east, nautical miles is what they needed to say. That is a remote area and is a challenge to conduct a search. Marger said the search is being conducted both under the water with sonar buoys and sonar on the expedition ship, and over the water. Mauger said the Coast Guard was notified on Sunday afternoon by the operator of the submersible that it was overdue. Rear Admiral John Mauger of the U.S. Coast Guard said at a news conference that we are doing everything we can do to find the submersible. We're standing by the Rear Admiral, the Titan equipped with only a few days worth of life support. The Titan vessel went missing in the area of the Titanic wreck. According to the website for the tourism company operating the Titanic Ocean Gate Expeditions of Everett, Washington, the missing vessel is a submersible capable of taking 5 people, 1 pilot, and 4 crew members to depths of 4,000 feet. Where does it say this thing about the 200 trips? Yeah. In a Fox News interview, Rear Admiral John Mauger of the U.S. Coast Guard said the agency did not have the right equipment in the search area to do a comprehensive sonar survey. The U.S. Coast Guard, in a statement, that it was searching for 5 people after the Canadian... Okay. The Marine Institute of the Memorial University of Newfoundland was partnered... Yeah. Yeah, where's the part about 200? Well, where is it, though? You sent me a link and said over 200 dives? God, give me a break. You sent me a link, and in the title it says over 200 dives, and I look through it, and you go, well, no, I was just sending you a link, but I was just telling you that it says over 200 dives. Well, of course the website's going to tell you that. I don't believe it. Man, why make something so confusing like that? And what, let's see. This is the one that Ada sent. We already read this one. Yeah, we read this one an hour ago. I mean, they say it was just updated, but we already read this one. Here. Likely signs of life have been detected. Rescue plane hunting missing Titanic submarine with 5 on board. Here's banging coming every 30 minutes from near the wreck. Yeah, we went over that. Hope of finding the Titan 5. The crew on board is board a missing sub on an expedition to the Titanic shipwreck have grown after rescue groups reported likely signs of life and banging sounds. A Canadian aircraft, part of an enormous search mission looking for the missing Titanic, heard banging at 30-minute intervals. Yeah, we already went over all this. Yeah. And that's what it looks like out there, and that's the ship right there. I mean, you know, it's so small, though. Well, if it was banging every 30 minutes, they weren't freaking out. They were purposely timing it. But if there was some other sounds that they said they heard, they didn't say what those were, then I could imagine it being something more. You know, a lot of panic and sort of different, you know. I don't know if you can hear that kind of stuff, but maybe. I mean, they probably have pretty sophisticated listening devices underwater. You know, one thing I always wondered about? You know when a little blood drops in the water and a shark 2 miles away smells it? Like right away? How's that possible? It's not like it's the air where... like, how does a shark like sense that there's blood way over there kind of quickly? I mean, there must be something in the water where chemicals shoot through at a different pace than just current. It's pretty weird. Yeah, maybe it's just a myth. You know, maybe when it's probably just when the current moves the blood over. Yeah, but it would just have to be current. But the current it doesn't move that fast most of the time. So maybe it's just that's a myth where it's like, oh, they sense it and they come over. It's mainly if the blood is in the water and it finally reaches somebody, then, or not somebody, a shark, then they'll come over and be able to track it. I think we've talked about that before. Yeah, we went over that. I think you and I looked that up one time, Zozo. Something to do with the molecules. I think that's what I remember doing the research on that now. Yeah. I think I sent that to you, the part about the molecules. Sharks are made to live in water with the sense they need. Huh? Don't know what that even means. Right, from the source, but the blood must travel in the water to get to them to be able to smell it, right? Because, so it might be a quarter mile away from the source, and then it's diluted a quarter mile. I don't know. Jeez, it just. Yeah, we went over that whole thing on a show a long time ago. Yeah, it must be current that moves the blood over. I think that's what we figured out when we looked it up. It's just molecules moving around. Anyways, I don't really have much more to go over, you guys. I think we're pretty much... But I think now we're going to have to do updates. Maybe tomorrow we'll have to see what's going on tomorrow, too. Hey, we got people that ordered a notebook. Let's see, we had... that's funny. LM, thanks LM for the, and TTJO and Katie for the PayPal. I was thinking that LM would have typed in something like, and don't share my address on the screen. That would have been pretty funny. Don't worry, that's all done. No, it doesn't. Doesn't have one. Don't laugh at me, but are there whales big enough that one could have swallowed? And the answer to that is no. And if it tried to eat it, it would spit it out because it's not food. Anything else? Yeah. Yeah, so they did 200 dives. That doesn't count, though. You know, a dive could be you go in the water and you drop down 100 feet. Yeah, sounds good. They've only been on 3 missions where they took people to go. That's what I think counts. The other ones... Now, if they had, like, 200,000 hours of diving and deep dives and experience and stuff, that'd be different, but they just say, has successfully completed over 14 expeditions. Well, it sounds like it's really only 3. And over 200... Of course, their website's going to... Yeah, I see it, KK. Why do you always just kind of... You just keep fighting to try to win something. Okay? It's... You don't think the website's just going to pump something out up there? I mean, it's not going to be accurate. You can tell that they didn't do what they need to be doing. Okay? I already said 14 expeditions. I read it. Yeah. Yeah. 14 expeditions. What does that mean? Well, they counted 11 of them where they went underwater and played a video game. Oh, you see that expedition we were on? Yeah. They've only had 3 of these. It said it. They didn't do non-destructive testing on the hull. This is the one. This is what she just said. In 2009, Stockton Rush, a successful businessman with close ties to the aerospace and technology industries, founded OceanGate Inc., an ocean exploration venture focused on providing crewed submersible services to enable researchers and explorers to access the ocean's vast resources, taking an early lead in an emergency market. Stockton recognized that private industry funding and utilization of modern materials could have major impact on our ability. Hey, look at that. Is that
Chewbacca?
Hey, Cairo, what's going on? What's going on, Cairo? Sheesh. During the first 2.5 years of operations using a disciplined cost-benefit analysis, Stockton evaluated undersea technologies and acquired the submersible antipodes, 2 robotic vehicles, various support vessels, and multiple pieces of support equipment. OceanGate acquired a second submersible in 2012 and rebuilt it into Cyclops 1 to serve as working prototype for Titan. Our highest priority during our early dives was the development of the detailed operations, maintenance, and safety manuals for our crew. Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, just don't breathe or, don't eat or don't do anything like that. And equipment that would allow us to operate safely and consistently in a wide variety of demanding environments. These procedures have proved to be extremely effective as OceanGate has successfully completed over 14 expeditions. Now you just want to know what they're saying when they say expedition. What does that really mean? And over 200 dives in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Gulf of Mexico. Following every mission, the team evaluates and operates the procedures as part of a continued commitment to evolve and ensure. So they're still like testing and developing it. Give me a break. God, this is ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for sending those, KK, but come on, I mean, you just... they'll figure out what, when they find it, basically what they said, yeah. Yeah, it just sounds like they're learning as they go. This isn't something you should learn as you go. This is like, okay, we've got this figured out. We know what we're doing. This works every single time. There's no dangers. There's nothing. And then you might open the door up to something. We've tested it. Engineers have agreed. This is 100% safe. It didn't say that, though, to the Titanic. I think they're just calling... You're not going to say in a website when you're trying to sell to clients, well, we've had 3 expeditions. We did go missing for a couple hours, but yeah, we got that one. And, then you're like, well, shit, why don't you get like more under your belt and then give me a call? So you write down 14. Hey, Jim, do you think we can count that as a mission? Remember that one time you got in there and you went around on the surface for a while through the, in the canal there? Can we call that a mission? Yeah, let's do that. Hey, remember that one time when we both had a few drinks and we sailed across the harbor to go get a beer? We called that a mission, right? Remember? We were going, ahoy, matey, through the top of it when we went across. Yeah, we'll call that one too. We also got the one where... that's how it was going down there. I bet you. Yeah. Anyways, it was sort of interesting to, at least get caught up a little bit on this. Well, as long as you got back in it on the mission. Well, how's it going, Cairo? Are you able to type? Or there you are. Evening, everyone. Now we just need Stacy to pop in. Yeah. Anyways, does everybody feel like you kind of, know what's going on now? It's just, just in a nutshell, it's like there were, I think it's, 5 people total? 4 passengers, really, and the pilot. And they, 4 of them paid $250,000, so I guess it was like $1 million. Maybe 5 of them did, or 4 of them did, yeah. And so, they go out. A ship brings them out here next to right at where the Titanic is, and then they lower the submersible into the water, and then it goes down to a depth of 2,500 feet to go look at the Titanic as sort of a cruise ship for, like a sightseeing venture. And then an hour and 45 minutes into being lowered down, the ship above lost contact with the submersible. And just until recently, there had been no known possible signs of any kind of contact. But now they're saying that a plane that dropped in those, sonar buoys, sono buoys, and then planes above said that they heard some banging on a hole every 30 minutes of the hull of the submersible underwater, they thought. I was wondering, though, how do we know that it wasn't somebody on the ship banging the side of the ship to send a signal down, maybe to the submersible? But anyways, you would think that those buoys are really sensitive and could probably say, yeah, it was about 500 feet down, it was over here, it's over here. Looks like it was set up with the antennas much like a cell tower, so you might be able to tell what side of the buoy it came from, or even send out like GPS type coordinates or something. And sounds like the submersible at one time lost contact for a couple hours. Another time, seems like a really sort of shaky safety record. And they've searched over 10,000 square miles. I think that's a lot of water. So it's probably not on the surface. I think it's probably somewhere in between the surface and the bottom. Just sort of hovering, as it were. And they haven't found it. It's small. I think it's only 20 feet long. That's tiny. So if you go on here, just picture how little this thing is. Because if you go on Google Earth here and you zoom in, let's see, let me go like that. Yeah, right here, those are actually, somebody put the model of the Titanic in here. Let's see how far apart those pieces are. Does it let me do that? It doesn't, I don't think so. Oh wait, there's a little bit. How about a half mile apart? So if that's a half mile apart, think of how, I mean, this is a huge ship. Wasn't it like 1,000 feet long or something? I mean, it was ridiculous, right? So that means this little submersible is the size of like this little square thing here. Let's see. That's 20 feet right there. Okay? So that's 20 feet. So it's not even, it's about a half as long as that little square. And then you go out like that. So it's this really tiny little thing. I mean, look at, there's that little square again. Really tiny little thing moving around in this water. I mean, hell, it's probably, I mean, I don't know how big those windows are, but just think how small that is. And then you're at 2,000 some odd feet. So look at it from this angle. That's the ship. The surface is 2 miles above that. So that means you go from like way over here. Look at right there. I think that's the surface, maybe, possibly. And there's this little tiny little thing floating around in the water out there. Yeah, I actually think that that is placed at, what does this say? Hold on. Altitude. That's on ground level. So that means it's at 0. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't even think of looking at it like that. Yeah, so when you rotate it around, look at that. That's awesome. Come on, what other channel is going to be able to show this to you right here? Look at that right there. Can you guys see the models down there? I think that's actually the height there. There's the surface of the water, and look how far down below the surface of the water the Titanic is. That's like 900 or I mean, wasn't it 1,000 feet long or something? And there it is, way down there. And then maybe if you can rotate, you can't really see above, but look at that. There it is. There's the surface. And so let's say the submersible's floating around in the middle here somewhere. Not sure how you would actually find it. Pretty sweet. Yeah, unless they have, don't they have heat down there? I don't know if they have. Okay. Anyways, that's going to do it for me tonight. Maybe we'll have to pick back up on this tomorrow, I guess, if we're still doing a search, or I guess if there's breaking news, I can come on. Now the freaks, you guys expect me to, I'm going to be covering it now, I guess. Is there not such a thing as an underwater GPS? Well, I think they'd have to have something on the surface that was displaying it, or sending a signal out. I think there is something like that, but their communication's not working, so they wouldn't be able to send a signal. I think the water is like 39 degrees or something. So the Titanic was almost 900 feet, like I was saying. 852, that's as long as the Monon High Bridge. So the Monon High Bridge in the Delphi case, that's how long the Titanic is. Nope, not doing it. Stream until found. I don't think so. Anyways, thanks everybody for sending me the links. But let me just say this again. When you send me links or pictures, don't send me the picture. Send me the link that has the picture in it. Or send me a link that goes directly to something. You know, not Lookner's tweets. You know, like I don't need a tweet by him. I need the link that he had in it. Hey, you still out there, Cindy J? How's it going with your email? I wasn't really I didn't understand what you wrote in it. The one from about your kidney. Mm-hmm. Let's see. They have it. Who's got a channel? What are you talking about? Separate system that uses sound. Yeah, we're talking about something else. The communication. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean their navigation has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're just talking about the way they communicate. We explained it later. It was just kind of like this specific sound waves or so forth. I can't remember, what was it? What did it say? Like sound waves that were generated, and then both sides interpret the sound waves, and then it's like a text that comes out. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I see. You're answering Zozo's question. Yeah, those are tough to answer sometimes because they're like, what? Hey, thanks, Teresa P. Yeah, hunt for Red October. Alright. So, thank you for everybody that was here tonight. Thank you to Caligal3, Georgina Stoliker, SV Kathy, Caligal3, Music Maker, Eugenie, Kathy Chapin, Cindy J, Caligal3, SV Kathy, Zoe413, Your Gypsy, Alley Cake with a cat eye, thank you, American Lady, Kubi, LM, American Lady, Atacor, Kubi, nope, I got nothing. The Velvet Army, Marble's a new member. Kim M, a new member. Frazzled Cat. Booberry, a new member. Booberry. Send a super chat. Snug with Pug. Patty. Denise, 5 months. Ellen with a cat eye. Thank you so much. Caligal 3. Rita Schaefer. Eugenie gifted 1. Then I gifted 5 memberships. Mary Buchanan, Cheryl Bullock, Daphne, Amber Maiden, Kathy Chapin, Rita Schaefer, Chives, Eugenie, Cheryl Bullock, Renee H, Yvonne T, Teresa, The Velvet Army, Mimi, Lisa L, Valerie Hotsfeld, John Dunn, Cindy Edenfield, John Dunn gifted 5 memberships. Richard Canick, thank you. Then Elaine gifted 5 memberships. Danielle, Cairo, and Teresa P. So thank you guys. That was awesome. Appreciate your support. You know, we got 1 strike on the day show. Not like a strike in terms of like if I'll keep doing them. Because it was 4 hours of, and just really nobody was hardly even watching. So I'm not sure people are interested in the McStay case for some reason. But, you know, if we beat the goal, it'll reverse a strike. But if we get to 3 of them, then I just probably won't be doing them. Because it's just too much time and effort to do those for so little people watching. But it's an interesting case for people who actually wanted to listen to it or watch it. Today was sort of boring because there was too much audio only stuff. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Yeah, so anyways, thank you guys very much for being here. Good to see you, Cairo. You know, LM, good to see you in there. Cindy, I hope you feel better. And it's good to see everybody. You know, appreciate everybody being here and watching. You know, just trying to go through it like everybody else, but hopefully I did it in a way where it seemed like it sort of makes sense. Everybody has a feel for what's going on right now, and you're just sort of, now we're just waiting for somebody to say something. All right. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. If there's any breaking news or anything like that tomorrow, I'll jump back in and we'll go live, and you know, whoever wants to watch, you can watch. If you don't, then you don't, but hopefully there's still a chance at good news. Don't know. Alright. It does get stressful for me doing sometimes these shows, so I gotta tell you know, just when you have like 1,000 people in the chat zipping by, and you're getting 1,700 emails, and I'll tell you. Let me tell you right now. Hold on a second. In tonight's show, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 34 emails just in the show. That's kind of a lot, you know. But I try to get through them because maybe there's something good in them, you know, an interesting element. And, you know, KK always keeping me on my toes, you know, and the rest of you bugging the hell out of me every 5 minutes. And the Johnny Depp trial again? Jesus. That one was sort of entertaining, though. Yeah. All right. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button on the way out the door. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And where is the... There it is. Man, I even had some pretty interesting
I've been doing
things.
this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a...
Not even one great game! Like a detector,
I'm a
certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya. Hey, thanks, the Velvet Army. I'll let Ray know.
Hey, yeah, thanks, the Velvet Army. For what, Mary Lou?
Well, she said it was a great show.
Oh, okay, cool, thanks. Hey, wait, what happened to music? What happened to music?
I don't know, Gray. You tell me.
Oh, there it is. There it
And
is.
I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all. Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm no pretender. And I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you.
Good night, everybody. Gray, I really hope they find him tomorrow.
Me too, Mary Lou. It's not looking good, though.
That's sad. That's really sad.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So hopefully tomorrow we get some answers. And we will see you later. And it's good to see you, too, the Velvet Army. A little bit more than, you know, I hadn't seen you for so long. It's good to see you back in here again. All right? So see you guys later. And until next time, be safe out there.
Are you angry at me? 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 Are you angry at me?
What the hell was that, Gray?
Oh, that was from the Jodi Arias trial. Never mind. All right, see you guys later.